call it, like the button-up collar kind of situation. Because it's warm, like I've gone ahead and I've unbuttoned one additional button, a little something for the ladies. But I am wearing
Do you know if there's
jeans.
one lady in particular who was looking for that button to be unbuttoned?
I mean, I just presume, if
Fair.
I know anything, I know what ladies want.
How about that as a new weekly segment? Jason tells the ladies what they want.
In the theme, like what a girl wants, maybe. That song would be nice.
That would be very good. How does Dan feel about the button experience right now?
Excellent question.
I'm trying my best to look in any direction other than that direction.
Yes.
And so far I've succeeded. So
youtube.com/WCCO radio. Get right there. So you can get a
button
look.
Comparison between the two of you, I think it's dramatically different.
It is significantly different. Dan actually weirdly has the top button buttoned on his button-up shirt. Strange.
I don't think there's anything weird about it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you have an undershirt? Dan also has an undershirt.
Yeah, but I always wear that.
Because just doesn't want. He just want to make sure nobody gets too much of a glimpse. I have a different approach.
Explain
Florida,
what is it,
my man?
80s, low 80s. Dan, why the undershirt with the short sleeve shirt?
I always wear an undershirt because if I tend to perspire, which I do on a fairly regular basis, that way I don't soak through the shirt that I'm wearing that I don't want to see soak through. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Yeah,
some would say the extra shirt may cause you to perspire more. What do you think about that?
I think that's an interesting point.
Fair question.
The problem is that I started wearing the undershirt after I was already sweating through the other shirts. So, it was, I was aware of the perspiring problem ahead of time. Adam Carter and I have had some fascinating discussions about this, but
fascinating.
I mean, to me, it was fascinating.
Yeah. I was going to say, is this our lead topic? Undershirt?
I think it is.
I didn't want to be part of this.
I will donate $500 to the charity if you do 3 hours from Fort Myers on undershirt perspiration.
I have researched this extensively. I mean, as a former television news anchor, where I was under the hot lights,
trusted voice,
trusted voice, and then I went with the undershirt. Then I got sort of chunky. And then I stopped wearing the undershirt because I'm like, you know what? Overshirt's a little snug. Need to take this extra layer out of here. And now today I'm just going no undershirt.
Let it go. Freedom.
America deserves it. America deserves it. They want it.
Yes.
I've been told. I'm hearing.
They want it. Okay.
And they're getting it.
People are telling you, right? Okay. Is that the lawnmower in the background too?
Oh, it is. Pretty soon we're going to have like the leaf blower, all the sounds and sights of spring training.
The edgers are going to be there. Jason's going to take you home right here at CCO.
Happy birthday to us. 2 surprises for you. 2 surprises from NordVPN. 2 surprises for you. Celebrate twice as much with NordVPN. We have a special birthday deal. Get 72% off and a coupon for up to 1 year free. NordVPN is rated as excellent on PC Mag. Visit NordVPN.com and discover one of the most advanced VPNs in the world. What are the benefits? Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. Receive alerts if your email address leaks to the dark web. Reduce the risk of phishing, scams, and malware with NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro tool. Encrypt your online traffic and browse with more peace of mind. Get the special birthday deal at NordVPN.com. Additional terms apply. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
I got a text from my wife this morning, Chad, and first of all, she asked me to send her a picture of the unbuttoned. No, she did not.
She has those already cataloged.
She told me the house was too cold. It was too cold this morning. It was too cold. So if you've wondered when when you set the thermostat in the overnight hour at 59 degrees, when it was too much.
It's ridiculous, by the way.
It's today. Today was the day.
Too cold.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it cool, but you and also a lot of your listeners are the same.
Yeah.
I saw some 55s. I think this is a topic you're an expert in.
Yes.
And people love responding. People like it really cold in their place.
It's amazing. The thermostat is, for me, it's like a self-checkout is for you. I mean, we have our go-tos.
Yes.
We know what's going to get people going.
That's right.
And we can't help
I think
ourselves.
you'd like it snowing in your house. I mean, just a little dusty.
Put on another sweater. Put on another blanket.
Yes.
Put your boots on. I don't see what the issue is.
Why not?
That sort of tough talk will lead off our show. We are going to talk about the schools closing today. And I just disagree with it. And people are going to let me have it. Thanks to the Canopy Group.
News Talk 830 WCCO KMNB HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Michael Wallace. A storm stretching from Nebraska to Arkansas is dumping snow and ice. A grocery store in Springdale, Arkansas has been busy.
We heard the weather was going to hit. We didn't know if it was going to be snow, whether it was going to be ice, or a combination of both. And we didn't want to be caught short with what we needed.
That storm moves into the mid-Atlantic region overnight. Kentucky will get several inches of snow as it tries to recover from last week's flooding, which killed at least 14 people. In some areas of the upper Midwest, temperatures have stayed below zero all day. This man felt the difference when he got off a plane at O'Hare Airport in Chicago.
It's 0 degrees here. We just came from New York and it was 32 and that felt warm.
In North Dakota, wind chills are 30 below. All but 2 of the 21 passengers injured in yesterday's plane flip at Toronto Pearson Airport have been released from the hospital.
I thank each and every one of these heroes.
That's Toronto Airport CEO Deborah Flint calling the crew of the Delta flight heroes for braving smoke and fire and
evacuating a jet that had overturned on the runway on landing.
Flint says the airport dealt with extreme snowstorms as recently as Sunday as more than 20 inches fell. She says investigators are on site. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
The Vatican now says Pope Francis has pneumonia in both lungs. In Rome, Dutch tourist Klaus is keeping the 88-year-old Pope in his thoughts.
I wish for him for a speedy recovery and that he will have many strong years left in him.
The Vatican says the Pope is in good spirits. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has briefed European ministers on the talks he had with Russian officials today about ending the war in Ukraine.
We haven't really had much engagement with the Russians for almost 3 years, and it sets the table for future conversations. How that turns out will be up to the parties.
European and Ukrainian officials are upset they were not included in today's talks in Saudi Arabia. More from former CBS News Moscow bureau chief Beth Noble.
I think that the Ukrainians and European leaders are very worried, and with good reason, that President Vladimir Putin is going to try to launch a charm offensive, as he did during the first Trump presidential term.
The head of the Social Security Administration has resigned.
Acting Commissioner Michelle King, who's worked at the agency for over 30 years, left her post after refusing to give DOGE workers access to sensitive government records. Elon Musk claims the Social Security Administration is engaged in rampant fraud, making improper payments to dead people. DOGE has also been seeking access to sensitive data at the Treasury Department and IRS. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
On Wall Street, stocks have bounced back a bit in the final hour of trading for the day. The Nasdaq's in positive territory now, up 5 points. The Dow still down by 42. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Sunny and 3 degrees at 3:03. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Fry. The wind chill right now, 12 below. Our top story this hour, Minnesota Senate Republicans today announcing they are filing new and updated ethics complaints against embattled state DFL Senator Nicole Mitchell.
Senator Nicole Mitchell is facing a felony charge after breaking into her stepmother's home in April of 2024 in Detroit Lakes. Early this month, she was additionally charged with possession of burglary or theft tools. Her trial is set to begin in June, but Republicans want her removed from the chamber now. Republican State Senator Steve Drazkowski says the new complaint against her cites her vote on a floor motion related to her own expulsion in January as a direct conflict of interest.
The Subcommittee on Ethical Conduct should immediately act to prevent Senator Mitchell from participating in any vote associated with her political future and should take any and all disciplinary action warranted by this violation of the public trust.
Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Today marks 1 year since a man opened fire on Burnsville first responders and killed 3 of them. Police officer Paul Elmstrand, officer Matthew Ruge, and firefighter paramedic Adam Finseth were all killed during a domestic abuse situation last February. Burnsville Deputy Fire Chief Neil Dwyer, who worked closely with Finseth, says a year later, it seems like no time has passed.
In so many fronts, it feels like it was the longest year. And then there's other times it feels like the year's kind of flown by. I can't say enough good things about the person that Adam was. And that's the person that I'll always remember. And I'm incredibly grateful that I had the opportunity to know him. And it's the same things that we hear about Paul and Matt, just the incredible people that they were.
3 wreaths are on display outside of Burnsville City Hall for 24 hours. All city buildings will be lit in blue and red, and the city's flag is flying at half-mast for the day. 4 people have been arrested in connection to that violent crime spree that unfolded 1 week ago in South Minneapolis. Minneapolis police say a 34-year-old man, a 19-year-old man, and 2 17-year-old boys were arrested yesterday morning following a surveillance operation in the 2400 block of Bloomington Avenue. 2 people were shot during the 6 separate incidents that unfolded during the early morning hours of February 11th. Police have not said if they're looking for additional suspects. Minnesota will begin monthly testing raw milk for H5N1 bird flu starting next week as part of ongoing monitoring efforts. Dr. Nicole Neeser is the director of the Minnesota Department of Ag's Dairy and Meat Inspection Division.
Farmers don't have to do anything. We already collect samples from farms on a daily basis. Every time milk is picked up on a farm, we collect a regulatory sample that is used for certain kinds of testing. And so farmers actually don't have to do anything. All the work is kind of being done behind the scenes.
And there are concerns about bird flu being present in raw milk and the disease spreading to other cattle herds, bird flocks, and to humans who consume the raw milk. There are no safety concerns for the public milk supply, as all milk sold in stores is pasteurized to kill bacteria and viruses such as H5N1. It is 3:06 here on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
The road's in pretty good shape. As you cruise the system, you'd find things running fairly decent to go along with those nice roads. If you're traveling 94 westbound, minor slowdowns past Weaver Lake Road, a clean shot after that. Up into Rogers, South 35E flowing nicely right out of St. Paul, all the way down to the Burnsville split. 494 eastbound, cruising along at the posted speeds. Highway 5 all the way up toward Highway 61. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
For a spring training getaway that's truly major league, stay at Luminary Hotel and Company in downtown Fort Myers, Florida. It's just a short drive from the ballparks and the perfect home base for baseball fans. Plan your getaway now at luminaryhotel.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
And this weather forecast is brought to you by Luminary Hotel. Here is WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It's getting better, but still chill. A cold weather advisory overnight tonight. We'll fall back to 11 below, but it will still feel like 25 below tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, mostly cloudy with a high near 8. We shoot up to 15 on Thursday. By the weekend, highs in the 30s on Saturday. We may hit 40 on Sunday.
Right now, sunny, 3 degrees with a wind chill of 12 below. I'm Mark Fry, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Stay informed. Stay engaged. Stay ahead of that cocky coworker who thinks he knows everything.
Well, actually, blah, blah is the blah, blah, blah.
News Talk 830 WCCO. Buckle up. Time for the ride home and the chance to get caught up on the day's news, plus whatever else he wants to riff on. This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Here's the star of the show and your host, Jason DeRUSHA.
Are you ready? All right.
Now live on your radio and streaming to the world at WCCOradio.com and the Odyssey app. Here's Jason DeRUSHA.
And we are live in Fort Myers, Florida. Welcome to spring training. And I'm sorry. I know how cold it is in Minnesota and western Wisconsin. But we are here to bring you a little bit of sunshine into your life. We hope we've got lots of fun coming up here on Drive Time. We start with hour one. Dan is here. I am here. We are streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you want to watch the show and also get a live look at the home of the Twins, the Lee County Sports Complex, Hammond Stadium right here in Fort Myers, Florida, you can be transported to a place where the current temperature is 78 degrees. The skies are mostly sunny. It is a little humid.
I was just going to say, should I check the humidity?
Let's not complain about that when back home it is incredibly
62% humidity, right?
Yeah,
So
my
the
hair
dew
has
point
a
is 65.
little bit of
it's
a
a little
curl,
much.
a little bit of a curl to it. It is beautiful. It's and we have lots of fun for you coming up with the skipper of the Twins, Rocco Baldelli, coming your way in just about 20 minutes. But we begin with the biggest story in the Twin Cities today, and without question, that is the extreme cold. This morning, hundreds of schools in Minnesota and Wisconsin had closures or delays. And I am not one normally to go down the back in my day route with school closings. I believe that in general, as we have more information, we can keep people safe. And so we do things that are smarter today, that are different from what we did back in the day. But I do not understand the logic of closing down school for extreme cold. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. And I believe this is more about preventing lawsuits than keeping kids safe. 651-461-9226. I do not think that schools should close for extreme cold. I just don't. I think that parents should always have the ability to keep kids home if they don't think it's safe. If you have a first grader that you send to the bus stop without supervision, that you open the door and send them out, maybe you shouldn't on a day where the high temp or the air temperature in the morning is going to be 10 below and the wind chill is going to be 35 below. Maybe you don't do that. But why are we closing the entire school? To me, it has to be lawsuits because I just don't believe that this sort of, well, what about the school bus maybe breaking down and whatever? If you are a little kid being sent alone to the bus stop on a day like today, that's on you as a parent. That's a crazy decision. And I do not think it makes sense to close the entire school on a day where it's extreme cold. 651-461-9226 is our number. I'm sure, Dan, that I'm not going to find a lot of love on this belief.
You don't think so? You don't think the people are going to be with you on this one?
I think the people are wrong. I don't understand. What I don't understand, I would like someone to lay out the scenario where there is a reasonable fear that something, and I'm saying reasonable, not just a fear, but a reasonable fear that there is a danger here. And why should you close down the whole school when really a parent could make the call for themselves? That to me would make more sense. Now, there's no one size fits all threshold on this. Generally speaking, from school superintendents I've talked to over the years and spokespeople, they use this sort of line of 35 below zero is the decision. And the schools defer to the National Weather Service because this is what I think is really going on. And I do think this is a major problem with our society. We are so fearful of litigation for good reason, because man, do we love to file lawsuits. So we are so fearful of litigation that when the National Weather Service issued a cold weather warning today, well, the schools say like, well, what are we supposed to do? The Weather Service has issued a warning. And so, some schools do the 2-hour late start where you wait for it to warm up a little bit. And again, if you really think, like, is it really that significantly different at 7 in the morning versus 9 in the morning? I don't think so. I don't think so on a day like today, but I get it. Like some schools do the 2-hour delay. But just because the weather service is saying like, well, it's not really safe to be outdoors. I just don't understand how, generally speaking, parents can't manage that situation with controlling your kid getting out to the bus stop and being a parent. The school, to me, it makes no sense. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. And I do think like these times when we're closing school because of snow and road conditions, don't mind the construction going on next to us. They're working on the press box up here. I do think closing school for snow makes a lot more sense because you say like, yes, that is unsafe for kids to be on the road. If they're driving to high school, it's unsafe for parents to be driving and those school buses trying to go up hills and all of that stuff. I do think reacting to actual snowfall, not reacting to the forecast, I think that makes sense. The cold temperature, I just don't get it. I think the only explanation I can come up with is the absolute fear of litigation. 651-461-9226. Jason, do you wait for a bus when you go to work or do you drive in a heated car? Okay, so let's explore that. I do not wait for the bus. But if I did wait for the bus, and we all grew up with cold temperatures. We all grew up with frigid temperatures. Mom or dad would wait, and there'd be a certain time, and they'd say, go to the bus stop, and you make sure you were bundled up and all of that. Now, some kids, says the texter, have to walk multiple blocks to get to school because their parents leave early for work. Then they're falling behind the rest of the class. I would say, should we close the whole school because a couple of parents are leaving early for work? Those parents have to stay home from work anyway then to care for the kid. So stay home for work for an hour and manage it or drive your kid to school. To me, I do not understand it. Let's go to Woody, who is on line one here on the CCO Talk and Text line, 651-461-9226. Woody, go ahead. Thanks for calling in.
So I drove school bus back in the 80s. We never had a cold day. I think we might have had maybe one snow day in the city of Minneapolis. I went to Minneapolis schools. We never had a snow day. We never had a cold day. We lived over a mile from the junior high and over a mile from the high school, and we never got a ride either.
What do you think changed? What do you think changed, Woody? What do you think is different today? My theory is the lawsuit.
Everybody is so worried. Everybody is so worried about what their kids want. I mean, we would play hockey in weather like this outside, no socks in our skates because our skates were that set up, on our feet.
Yeah.
And I don't get it either.
What do you think?
I think what they should. I think what they need to have is an excused absence day. So if the parents decide they don't want the kids to go to school, it would be an excused absence versus closing closing the whole school like you're talking about.
Bingo. I'm with you on that, Woody. Thank you. Let's go to Sarah in Egan. Sarah, thanks for calling CCO. What do you think about these extreme cold days that the schools shut down?
Well, I work in retail and just left work to a store that was packed with parents and their children. I guess I grew up in a family that if it was too cold or too snowy to go to school, you're not going anywhere. So I think it's poor decisions made by the parents.
Yeah, if it's so unsafe, why is it that people are able to go to the stores today? Yeah, I think it's fear. It's this fear, right? Because here's the scenario, and you know who I blame? I partially blame our over litigious society, and I partially blame the media. Because if you get one kid on one school bus in one area of the state where the school bus doesn't show up and the kid just stands there instead of going to somebody's house or going back home, then it becomes a news story. Then the questions are being asked of the district. Well, why would you even put kids in harm's way like this? Why even take a chance if one kid could be hurt? And then now we have this sort of paranoid society where we're so afraid of our own shadow. I just think it's preposterous.
I agree. Thanks for taking my call.
Very good. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate you. 651-461-9226. Lots of texts coming in. People disagreeing too. Gerald, stay on the line. My favorite texter so far is saying Jason is correct, but I can't help but notice the irony that he's expressing this opinion while in Fort Myers, Florida. The irony is not lost on me. I understand, and well done to the texter. 651-461-9226. Drive Time coming back in just a minute.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSHA, live from Twins Spring Training. Presented by the islands and beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company and sunny Fort Myers.
You know, before I left, I visited my friend Kevin over at J.H. and Son at the Galleria in Edina. And I want you to get over there this weekend. It's Jason here for J.H. and Sons. I absolutely love this premium menswear store. You are going to love it too. I've got a bit of an event coming up in a couple of weeks. So I went to J.H. and Sons and said, look, I don't want a full tuxedo. I just want something kind of fun and interesting. And they just went to work. They're like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Incredible personalized service. That's the real difference at J.H. and Sons. It's what Jeff Halberstadt insists on. The Halberstadts have been serving men in the Twin Cities and women, right? But it's menswear. They started in St. Cloud 50 years ago at the Galleria there. Now they're in all over the Midwest. They're in Sioux Falls. They're here in the Twin Cities as well. This family is incredible. The selection is unreal. You're going to love the service. Go say hi to Chuck or Bryce or Kevin or Dean. The selection of brands will blow you away, but it's the service that really makes a difference. Go visit them at the store. And make sure you sign up for their email list. Be the first to know about special events and sales at jhandsons.com.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Nobody wants to wait around forever for their home to sell. It's tough. A lot of people feel like if they accept an offer too quickly, though, that they're probably leaving money on the table. Hey, it's Vanita. Just call my friend, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Brenda just worked with John to sell her townhome. Someone who she really trusted made the referral, and Brenda learned she can trust that person even more because of how great John was. He fired up his marketing system. It reaches thousands of potential home buyers every single day. It took him less than 72 hours to get a handful of offers and found a buyer. Now she's one of his more than 5,000 satisfied customers. Contact John for full details, 952-222-9000, online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving, johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Drive Time with DeRUSHA is live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
And we are live here in Fort Myers while I'm ripping on the schools for closing down in the cold in the Twin Cities. 651-461-9226. So many good texts and good calls coming in. I want to go to this teacher who is calling in from Egan at 651-461-9226. So many schools closing today because of the cold. I'm questioning the logic of it. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it. Did you guys close today?
Yes, we did.
And what do you think about all of it?
You make some good points, and I think they're valid. And I'm not sold on the idea of closing for the cold weather. I think that, to summarize what you said, it's mainly we're in fear of litigation, and if something happens, it would be really on the parents, not the school. I think that's fair. But we're also, you're relying on the reasonableness of the parent population. And I love our parents, but are 100% of them reasonable? And whether or not it's the school's responsibility that something goes bad, could be a child's life, or it could be a serious injury.
Yeah.
So I think that is in the fear of litigation, totally real. But I think it's also that we live in a society, a city where we take maybe more care than we should have for people's poor decision making.
Wow. Okay, I do love it when people get me to change my opinion. But you may be right about this. Another texter points out that the parenting is the issue. The parents don't make their kids wear jackets. Boy, you might be right about this, where the reality is what the premise of my argument is that parents are functioning, even if it's one parent or a guardian, that they are functioning as a parent. And I'll say, like, I live in Maple Grove. The school bus stopped today, like when my kids were little, which was only, they were in kindergarten 10 years ago. But we would open the door and they would go down the block and they would go to the bus stop. Today, when you look at the bus stop, every parent is standing there with every kid, right? Like, it's sort of like this which is wonderful. Like, see your kid off to school. It's very nice. But that is one type of parenting. There is a different type of parenting where it is maybe not making sure that you got a hat and a glove on a day like today.
Right. Or they got to walk a block and a half, and what if the bus is late? And we're 99% of the situation, things are going to be fine, but it's that 1% that we kind of account for. And that's kind of what we've gone into. It's like we need to protect children from a small percentage of parents that struggle with decision making.
Great call. Thank you for listening, and thank you for dealing with the great parents and dealing with the challenging parents as a teacher. I am very appreciative.
Love them all.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. You have to. Yeah. Thank you very much. Great call.
Thank you.
651-461-9226. Jason, it's a combination of three things: potential lawsuits, helicopter parents, and loss of our Minnesota hardiness. Another parent saying, parents are irresponsible. Mine were. You seem to be a responsible parent. Good for you, but you're not looking at those that aren't. But then another texter says we are enabling parents not to parent, unfortunately. It is interesting, and we're going to talk about this another time, hopefully this week. But I'm reading this book called The Anxious Generation that talks about how parents are overprotective in the real world and underprotective in the virtual world. It's very, very interesting. Now, a lot of texters are saying Egan was not closed. I don't know if this teacher was a teacher in Egan or what district the teacher was
Yeah,
in.
I mean, you could literally.
I think they
go
were
and teach-
calling
yeah,
from Egan.
and teach in another district. So
Yeah.
it's okay, folks. We'll be fine.
It's very people are very worried. Egan was not closed. Okay. It was a staff development day in the Egan district. Very good. Let's break. It's warm here.
A little humid.
It's
a little stuffy.
Spring training in effect. It is very quiet here at Hammond Stadium right now in Fort Myers, but it was another busy day. Lots going on here. And we had the chance to sit down and talk with Rocco Baldelli. A couple of news bits out of a conversation we had with him again today. So we'll share that with you. I love talking to Rocco. I think he's such an interesting guy. Always a good interview. So we'll have that coming up for you in just a minute. Reminder, you can watch us live from Fort Myers on YouTube. Dan is waving to the stream right now. We're on the WCCO Radio YouTube page, and we are also streaming live on the WCCO Radio Facebook page. So wherever you're at, we try to make it easy so you can listen to Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA, live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
The Nobel Prize for Physics is awarded to Roger Penrose. The prize for chemistry is awarded to Emmanuel Charpentier. And the Nobel Prize for being super smart and well-informed is awarded to Brad for his listening, learning, and engagement with News Talk 830.
If knowledge is power, then this is the place to be. News Talk 830, WCCO.
It's like being trapped in a cage. And I know that sounds dramatic, but your breathing triangle problem has got you trapped. And once you're freed, you're going to be able to live the life that you're missing out on. Now, this can simply mean experiencing the true pleasure of breathing freely. It will mean better sleep and more energy. And the worry of this problem anymore affecting your life is going to be gone. Because in almost every case, when Advent has solved a breathing triangle problem, it's a one and done. Because we're not in the business of delivering Band-Aids. We want to fix your nasal breathing problem for good. We don't want you to be a lifelong patient. We want you to be our next success story.
Isn't it time you break free from that cage? Take the next step. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Warning: if you're thinking about surgery to fix your chronic joint pain, stop, because surgery can be risky, painful, and come with a lengthy recovery time. But there is an alternative, a groundbreaking therapy that revitalizes damaged tissue with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics has successfully treated tens of thousands of patients, freeing them from pain in their knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints. Before you resort to invasive surgery, find out if you're a candidate for this advanced regenerative therapy by calling 952-592-2994. Don't let chronic pain dictate your life any longer, and don't risk surgery. Learn more about the joint pain therapy endorsed by professional athletes and available now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. To find out if you're eligible, request a free consultation from QC Kinetics. You owe it to yourself to learn more about this surgery-free alternative with no drugs and no downtime. Call QC Kinetics today, 952-592-2994. 952-592-2994.
We're speaking with UCare's Albert Reed. Can you tell me what the difference is in Original Medicare, Medicare Advantage, and Medicare Supplement plans?
So Original Medicare is your basic foundation. It's comprised of two parts. That's going to be Medicare Part A, which is hospital coverage, and then Part B, which is the medical coverage. Medicare itself is designed to cover about 80% of your overall medical costs with no out-of-pocket limit. And then you have your Medicare supplement plans. They're designed to help cover the other 20% that Medicare leaves off. Great for folks that want to pay one monthly cost and ensure that their costs are covered for medical. And then lastly, there's Medicare Advantage plans will combine all the benefits of Part A and Part B, and likely will include Part D.
Okay, so why UCare?
We're friendly. We have a local customer service available 7 days a week. We do have a large dedicated broker network that's willing to take all the time needed to help you find the right plan to secure your long-term health.
For more, contact a local broker and visit ucare.org.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
Ever feel like there aren't enough hours in the day? If you get busy or miss your favorite show, don't worry. With Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app, you can stream your favorite shows on demand. You know your day is better with us. Get the news that matters to you from the local voices you trust. No matter what you're up to, give it a try. To get started, download the free Odyssey app and search for your station. That's AUDACY.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Got a crash working on the end of the actually the start of the ramp, 280 southbound to I-94, right in the Gore Point there. You got the accident, working emergency vehicles on the scene, and some slowdowns coming down from University Avenue. West 94, not too bad a ride, more of a slowdown up ahead in midway between First Avenue and the Lowry Hill Tunnel. Crosstown flowing nicely both directions between 169 and 35W. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
I use it. It works for me, and I am thrilled to be able to share the information with you. Jordana Green here, and yes, I'm talking about CBD.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, weather brought to you by MINNELEAF, the best legal products at MINNELEAF.com. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
We're not adding any snow, but in a few days, we'll be melting snow. Not tonight. It's a cold weather advisory. We'll fall back to 11 below, but still feeling like 25 below early tomorrow morning. Mostly cloudy tomorrow afternoon with a high of 8, up to 15 Thursday. Saturday, a high in the 30s. By Sunday, we could hit 40. That could carry over into next week as well.
It's cold. It is cold right now. It feels like 2 below. It's 3 above in Maple Grove here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA, live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
We are live at Spring Training. Minnesota Twins out on the mound today throwing live batting practice. I have to say, one of the most fun things about being at spring training is watching Minnesota Twins players throwing live batting practice to the studs of the lineup. You got Carlos in there. You got Buxton in there. And they're taking live batting practice and the sort of mutual respect you see, Dan. I don't know. To me, it is really fun. Byron taking pitches from Griffin Jacks today. We have Chris Paddock, who looked really good.
Yep.
Paddock was throwing 95, 96 miles an hour today. And he had faced Ty France, the new guy, just brought in. So lots of kind of cool moments. And during all of it, you see Rocco Baldelli standing right back there, monitoring, watching, talking to the guys. It is, to me, that is part of the fun.
Yeah, it really is. And it's one of the neat things that fans, when you come here to be able to watch workouts and to be able to watch games, you really get close to that kind of action. And you see these guys up close in a way that you don't necessarily see when you're out at Target Field seeing a game. It wasn't, like your standard batting practice with the cage and all of that. It's more about letting the pitchers start to work on their pitches. But then, like you said, these guys like Correa and Buxton and some of the newer guys are there as a set of eyes. You always see those batters then going and talking to the pitchers afterwards and saying, okay, here's what I saw as a hitter. And, they're comparing notes and I'm sure helping the pitchers get on track.
But they want to beat him.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, Carlos hit a couple of line drives and he was chirping.
Yeah.
He was letting them know. But it's about everybody helping everybody and getting better as a team because, they know this is the team that they're going to have. We'll talk payroll, obviously, another time. But, this is the group of guys they got. And there's a lot of talent on this team, as we saw early in the season last year. This is a team that can be really good. but they got to work together and they got to be all pulling in the same direction. And that was something that maybe wasn't necessarily the case later in the year, as you know, we'll talk about a little bit after you talk to Rocco about some of the things that he said today along those lines.
So let's get right to that. Rocco Baldelli last season started with such promise. A lot of the core players from last year still around, which maybe is a little bit of a disconnect to a lot of fans where you felt like, well, this group fell apart at the end of last year. We talk with Rocco about that and more. So take a listen to this conversation with the manager of the Minnesota Twins here on the home of the Twins, CCO. There are kids everywhere. Oh my gosh. Every player is talking about, like, I want to ask you about that actually, like, because we'll talk about baseball, but I want to ask you about the family atmosphere around the Twins, because it seems like so many of your players have young babies or pregnancies and all of this coming down during the season. I think it's cool. I think fans today look at it in a different way where they want these players take the paternity days. You know what I mean? That was different from how it used to be. That's for sure.
Oh, it's different in baseball. Probably still doesn't function quite like a lot of other places in the world today, but
you get more paternity leave than I did back when I had my kids, but
maybe so.
I had 0 days. You get 3, right?
I think we get 3. Well, that's the players,
the players get 3.
Yeah. And really, I think the key part of this is we try to make this a good environment for the players, and their ability to bring their children around at certain points in the day, I think is great. And I think it's their memories that they're going to have forever. Our guys are very focused. They get their work done, and they work very hard all day long. So when there's a time to have a little bit of family time at the ballpark, I think they relish it.
What is it like for the guys and for you to have everybody together back and ready to get this thing going?
Yeah, one of the things that I thought was important to talk about today, walking through just what it feels like to fight your way through a season, go into the playoffs, earn that opportunity, and then fight for a World Series. The things that you're really playing for here. And I think one of the key things that I actually did mention was you bring a community together in a way that you really can't understand until you do it. And that becomes a part of the goal and becomes the biggest part of the goal. And the guys in our clubhouse who have done this, Christian Vasquez has done this, Carlos Correa has done this. I was fortunate to play in a World Series. We didn't win the World Series, but you get a chance to, it's on the kind of the tips of your fingers. This is what it's all about. And communicating that to the players today it was enjoyable for me. I liked it.
That is kind of cool, right? Because it is bigger than baseball. Especially you look at the impact on downtown Minneapolis, the whole state, the whole region, what it means when you guys are rocking. It just changes the vibe.
The vibe when we were in the playoffs a couple of years ago.
Oh my gosh.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And it changes your life, just experiencing it, feeling it. I couldn't believe it around me. Rarely do I slow things down and look around in the ballpark. But that was one of those moments where I did. So we want to get back there.
Oh, that first win, I'm sitting there with my then 16-year-old, my youngest son, and you look around and you're like, it almost makes you tear up. I mean, it's just such a family moment, a city civic moment. Almost unlike, I don't know if there's a parallel. There's something different about being in a baseball stadium and experiencing.
Yeah, you have to brace yourself.
We don't know in Minnesota. It's been a while. Other than the Twins, that's all we got.
Well, you know what? That's what we're here for, to bring it back. And there weren't probably too many moments in the first speech where guys are nodding their heads in agreement, but that's one of the times they do.
Interesting. You're really changing the hitting approach a little bit this year, new staff that you have, getting back to more of a contact approach?
Well, we do have a new staff, and I think there will be some adjustments. I don't want to say we're completely revamping everything we do. I think that would be a little bold, but we have guys that are very good major league hitters that we don't want them to change that much. But right. I do think that bringing things back to a more refined and controlled idea of what you're trying to do at the plate, just simply hitting low line. If you aim for a low line drive, so many good things can happen. If you aim to get big and hit the ball in the air and hopefully hit a ball over the fence, there's significantly more things that may not go your way. So you aim small and you miss small, and hopefully there's a few more line drives being whacked around the field.
Your pitching staff, you got to feel good about it.
I do, but that's today, and things change over the. You never get big and feel too good about yourself.
Yeah.
You stay working hard and keeping your head down, and I think that's the way to approach something like this. The pitchers have been doing a nice job for us. Pete Mackey does a great job developing these guys and programming these guys. So the pitchers, they'll be ready, and we have a good deep group.
Who's on first? Who's on second? Do we know what's going on with the infield yet?
Well, we do. We have a better idea now. We brought Ty France in, who's a guy that's done it in this league for a while, and he's I think he's planning on making a few adjustments out there on the field too. But he's a good experienced guy. He's good around the bag on the defensive side of things, and he's a guy with some upside with the bat. So I think you could see Miranda and Julian also contributing over there. Mickey Gasper. I think there are a lot of guys you could look to that we may see over there. But Ty France signing over there helps us out.
Yeah, I think, we didn't know if there was going to be any action. There's obviously uncertainty with the ownership and all of that, but a commitment by ownership to say, nope, let's make some moves here.
Yeah, we tend to work a little later in the offseason than maybe some teams or maybe even some fans are, looking to
This has all sort of changed over the last 5 years.
It has. Yeah. And this is how we do it. We've signed some great players at this point. In the year, in the spring, and we did it again. And we brought in some guys that fill some really good needs. Danny Colomb, Harrison Bader. We brought in some guys that I think can play key roles.
For you, how excited are you that you're not back in Minnesota where it's 10 below zero right now?
Well, I live in Rhode Island. It's not Minnesota cold, but it's cold. So I'm used to that, and grew up playing in the cold as well. So I'm fine with it. But right now, I'm fine down here. We'll be back soon.
We can't wait to have you guys back going again. Have a good camp.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rocco.
You got it.
I mean, it's 23 in Rhode Island right now. That was a little bit of nonsense bravado, I think, from Rocco Baldelli.
I know what cold's like.
I know cold. That's what I said before I came to the Twin Cities myself. I didn't know cold. It's a different deal, but lots of good stuff from Rocco there. And we had further conversations today, Dan, where there were a couple of headlines I thought that came out of chatting with Rocco, including the question that I was alluding to there about who's going to play first and who's going to play second. Today, Rocco very specifically said he does not expect to have an everyday second baseman. So it is an interesting thing that the Minnesota Twins do. You certainly are going to have, an everyday third baseman, Royce Lewis. You're going to have an everyday shortstop, Carlos Correa. But you may not have an everyday second baseman. You may have a rotation of players depending on what the pitching matchup is, who's hitting hot, who's playing well, whatever the case may be. But you're going to see a bit of a rotation in there.
Yeah, I mean, and we use that term every day loosely. Obviously,
no one plays every day now.
Carlos is going to get some days off. Royce will get some days off. I think the Twins would love it if a guy like Brooks Lee stepped up this spring and hit the cover off the ball and said, "No, I'm your second baseman," and ended up being a guy that played at a high level throughout the year and ended up with the 600 plate appearances at second base. I think they'd love for that to happen. Right. But he's young, and you saw him come up last year and have all kinds of success for like 2 weeks. He was one of the hottest hitters in baseball. And like nearly always happens, advanced scouts then start to make adjustments for the pitchers. Pitchers find holes in his swing, and then he had to adjust. And that's a lot of times for guys who are really talented and got by on that talent in the minor leagues. That kind of adjustment at the big league level is a difficult thing to do. And so he struggled. So can he bounce back? Can he make those adjustments? Can he figure out what pitchers are doing and make adjustments at bat to at bat? That's a skill that major league ball players absolutely have to learn. But you do have a lot of positional flexibility with a lot of these guys. And so they're not going to put pressure on him to be that guy right out of the gate unless he, his play just dictates it. So,
right. Yeah, it is part of where you look at training camp and you think maybe 10 years ago, you really had a lot of people who were trying to make the club. And today it's not really that way. There's so much more fluidity between AAA and the big leagues, and you have people being called up and moved down. And it seems like this is just routine, right? And some of it, in my view, and you're more of a ball guy than me, but some of it, in my view, is the fact that the way these players are being asked to use their bodies is so much more demanding than it ever was back even 10 years ago. And Carlos Correa was talking with us today, and he said, he's like, I don't know that our bodies are supposed to do this. The stuff that we do as as professional athletes and as Major League Baseball players. And I think he's right.
I think he's absolutely right about that. I think, yes, spring training, I think they sort of have admitted a little bit about what spring training really is all about, and people have been more real about that. I remember years and years ago, there was a young guy, Luke Hughes, who had just an enormous spring for the Twins, wasn't planning to be on part of the roster, but hit a bunch of home runs in spring training. Everybody thought, okay, here's this new superstar player. And as it turns out, what happens in spring training is you get a lot of pitchers who are working on various stuff and are throwing not necessarily their best stuff, but are working on a pitch. My curveball isn't that good, so I'm going to throw a ton of curveballs trying to, in the meantime, I'm going to get hammered, but it's spring training, so who cares? Well, if you're a guy that is hammering those bad pitches, and then you get to the regular season where suddenly it's all the best stuff and not the, the working on stuff anymore, Luke sort of flamed out. And so, I think teams come to spring training with a pretty set idea of kind of who's going to be on the roster.
Yeah.
And then, like Rocco said, that can change obviously with injury and with all kinds of different stuff, but they have a pretty decent idea. And this is really about guys just getting their work in and getting prepared and getting physically ready for what is a very demanding and long regular season. So the other thing that he talked about
As a member of Marriott's Autograph Collection, the Luminary Hotel is in a league of its own. Plan your getaway now at luminaryhotel.com.
Right now, you can get the outdoor furniture you love with 0% financing, but only until February 24th. That means you can start your patio plans today and pay over time with no interest. Why wait? Order now and your furniture will be ready for you when spring arrives. Plus, check out 2 stunning new wood grain colors and dozens of fresh designs so you can make your backyard truly one of a kind. Visit our showrooms in Jordan, Maple Grove, or Woodbury, or shop online at buytheyard.net. Hurry, 0% financing ends February 24th. 0% financing subject to credit approval.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan Silver Dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. Don't miss out on this special deal. Regularly priced at $49.95, but for a limited time, only $39.95. Save $10 per silver bar. Limit of 25 bars per customer. The more you buy, the more you save. Up to $250 in savings and free shipping on every order. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan Silver Dollar. That's a $59.95 value free. Call 1-800-386-7195 now to secure your 1-ounce Morgan Silver Bars for only $39.95. That's 1-800-386-7195.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Brought to you by Whole Foods Market. Shop and store online. Still got the wreck working. 280 southbound at I-94. Use caution as you make way toward the main line of 94. If you're traveling crosstown eastbound, you got your slowdowns in place there. 100 over to France Avenue. Up on the north side, 10 westbound, minor slowdowns at Hanson. Shop citrus season at Whole Foods Market. Save on Decapon citrus for $3.49 per pound with Prime through February 18th. Grab this best of season favorite for a tangy, bright snack. All supplies last. Shop in store online. Terms apply. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
With a well-designed will, trust, and estate plan, you can have peace of mind. Choose Matt Gutman of Gutman Law to give yourself peace of mind. Call him now, 612-895-1616 at gutmanlaw.com. Gutman Law, peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, the weather forecast brought to you by Gutman Law. Chris Schaefer saying at least the coldest of the cold is almost done. The cold weather advisory goes until 10 tomorrow morning. Tomorrow we'll wake up. It'll be, I don't know, it'll feel like 25 to 30 below. Low tomorrow, 4 below. High is 8. Thursday, we get up to 15. 30s by Saturday, 40 by Sunday. So that'll be nice. Right now in downtown Minneapolis, it is 3 degrees on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSHA, live from Twins Spring Training. Presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company and sunny Fort Myers.
So we are streaming live here in Fort Myers on YouTube and on Facebook, as long as I don't click the wrong button and turn the sound off, which may or may not have happened about 8 minutes ago. But if you visit that stream right now, you can see a still picture of our setup. You ever watch these podcasts? You see these kind of big time podcasts. You're like, man, I wonder like what a studio they have. What a setup. We are currently using the webcam on Dan's Dell computer, the webcam on my Apple MacBook, and a Logitech webcam that I found on a ring light in our studio, unscrewed and threw it in my backpack.
Big time. We're big time.
There is a photo of our setup on the stream. You can also take a look at beautiful Hammond Field. So all of that on the stream. We stream every day now here on Drive Time. Why not? You know what? When you look as good as Cook and me, you're really denying America of the chance to see us. Lots more coming up. Hour 2 from Spring. Yes. Well, you should be booing that. Hour 2 of Drive Time next.
Nobody wants to wait around forever for their home to sell. It's tough. A lot of people feel like if they accept an offer too quickly, though, that they're probably leaving money on the table. Hey, it's Vanita. Just call my friend, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Brenda just worked with John to sell her townhome. Someone who she really trusted made the referral, and Brenda learned she can trust that person even more because of how great John was. He fired up his marketing system. It reaches thousands of potential home buyers every single day. It took him less than 72 hours to get a handful of offers, and and found a buyer. Now she's one of his more than 5,000 satisfied customers. Contact John for full details, 952-222-9000, online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this important announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free, with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
A dry winter can cause crack, itchy skin, and sore throats. Getting a whole home humidifier from Metro Heating and Cooling can help you get in the comfort zone on price and performance. Visit metroheating.com.
Metro Heating and Cooling.
News Talk 830 WCCO KMNB HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Michael Wallace. President Trump just said he will probably meet with Vladimir Putin later this month. He's also weighing in on today's talks about ending the war in Ukraine.
President Trump said the talks in Saudi Arabia between top diplomats from the U.S. and Russia.
They were very good. Russia wants to do something.
He said it's a senseless war.
It should have never happened, would have never happened if I was president.
And he said he's disappointed by Ukrainian complaints about not having a seat at the table for the talks.
Well, they've had a seat for 3 years and a long time before that. This could have been settled very easily. Just a half-baked negotiator could have settled this years ago.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
A federal judge has decided not to block Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency from accessing government data systems or participating in worker layoffs. The judge says there are legitimate questions about Musk's authority, but there's no evidence he or Doge pose grave legal harm. Pope Francis has been diagnosed with pneumonia in both lungs. In Rome, tourists are wishing the Pope well.
I feel very sorry for him. It's really, we hope he will get better soon and recover.
CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. John LaPook has more.
Pneumonia in both lungs in an 88-year-old man is serious, especially since he has underlying lung disease and the treatment is being described as complex. Maintaining a normal mental status is very important, so it's encouraging to hear he's in a good mood and able to pray and read texts.
Hamas plans to release more hostages this week. Reporter Miriam Herschlag is in Tel Aviv.
Hamas says it will hand over the bodies of 4 Israeli hostages on Thursday. 2 days later, 6 Israeli men will be freed. In return, Israel has agreed to release hundreds of jailed Palestinians and accelerate delivery of mobile homes to Gaza.
Kentucky will get several inches of snow tomorrow as it tries to recover from the flooding that killed 14 people. Governor Andy Beshear.
Don't drive around barricades. Don't drive through water. We lost a lot of these people driving through water, and we don't want to lose any more.
CBS's Scott McFarland tells us more Justice Department officials are calling it quits.
It's some of the top ranks inside the U.S. Department of Justice getting gutted by resignations and firings. And the latest resignation is Denise Chung in Washington, D.C. She heads criminal prosecutions in the powerful U.S. Attorney for D.C.'s office, and her resignation comes one day after President Trump nominated Ed Martin to be the top prosecutor here. Ed Martin is a 2020 election denier who was involved with the Stop the Steal movement.
Stocks ended the day higher after a late rally. Dow up 10. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You could save big when you bundle your auto, home, motorcycle, RV, or boat. Visit Progressive.com.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Sunny and 3 degrees. It feels like 12 below at 4:03. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Fry. This hour's top story.
Minneapolis police announcing arrests in connection to last week's violent crime spree in South Minneapolis.
Those arrested following a surveillance operation in the 2400 block of Bloomington Avenue include a 34-year-old man, a 19-year-old man, and two 17-year-old boys. It was last Tuesday when officers responded to 6 separate incidents, including 2 shootings, 2 burglaries, a carjacking at gunpoint, and shots fired incidents, all within about 2 hours of one another. Police have not yet said if they are looking for additional suspects. Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
More trouble for embattled DFL State Senator Nicole Mitchell. Senate Republicans today announcing plans to file a new ethics complaint against her, claiming it was a conflict of interest when she voted on a motion related to her own expulsion. Senator Mark Johnson.
The reality is that this cloud is just hanging over the Senate right now. And so when you're constantly having party line votes, 34, 33 over and over again, and you have somebody that's been accused of 2 felony level crimes, she's the one that's casting the deciding vote on a lot of these cases. That really brings into question what we're doing in the Minnesota Senate.
The Ethics Committee has 30 days to take up the issue. Minnesota state lawmakers and advocates highlighting data they shows Minnesotans support an equal rights amendment. If approved by the House and Senate, the Minnesota ERA would guarantee some of the nation's broadest protections of abortion and LGBTQ plus rights. Kat Rowan is with Outfront Minnesota.
We recognize that an equal rights amendment here in Minnesota would not supersede federal law, but it would represent a meaningful step, both for enshrining protections here in the state, and it would give Minnesotans an opportunity to clearly assert our own local values at a time of national erosion.
The Minnesota House passed the amendment last session after several hours and days of debate. Time in the session ran out before Senate leaders could bring it to a vote. Due to the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey today emphasized supporting the Latino community in their businesses.
Latino businesses have suffered recently. Colonial Market owner Daniel Hernandez.
We have lost over 100,000 here in the last 4 weeks.
That's because people are scared. Mayor Jacob Frey.
Imagine dropping your kid off at daycare in the morning and not knowing whether you're going to see that kid at night. That's the kind of fear that so many people in our community are presently experiencing.
The mayor has a solution.
What this is a call to action. And that call to action could not be easier for you all to take up. What I'm telling you to do is go support these incredible Latino-owned businesses that are in Minneapolis.
He says the state relies heavily on Latinos for the economy. Ari Bergeron, News Talk 830 WCCO.
The mayor announcing February 22nd will be a day with Latinos in which people are encouraged to shop at their businesses. It's 4:06 on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Still working 280 southbound at Highway I-94. Get ready for the slowdowns coming down from University. 394 flowing nicely both directions, actually, between downtown Minneapolis and 169. West 94 cruising Hemlock Lane all the way up to 101 and Rogers. 694 westbound. Some slowing between 120 and White Bear Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Automotive alert! Right now, purchase the 2025 Buick Encore GX all-wheel drive for just $23,990 with no payments for 90 days. Why buy used when you can buy new for less at McCarthy Auto World and McCarthyAutoWorld.com. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. See dealer for details.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
And the weather forecast brought to you by McCarthy Auto World. Find your next GMC at McCarthyAutoWorld.com. Here is WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It's getting better, but still chill. A cold weather advisory overnight tonight. We'll fall back to 11 below, but it will still feel like 25 below tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, mostly cloudy with a high near 8. We shoot up to 15 on Thursday. By the weekend, highs in the 30s on Saturday. We may hit 40 on Sunday.
Right now, sunny. It's 4 degrees with a wind chill of 12 below at News Talk 830 WCCO.
News you need. Personalities you love. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie. Just DeRUSHA. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise.
I'm super excited to introduce to you
Jason DeRUSHA.
And we are live here in Fort Myers. Minnesota Twins spring training. It is almost, well, baseball season is here. It's almost baseball season back home. It is hard to imagine a baseball game when you are dealing with single digits in the Twin Cities right now, waking up again tomorrow with air temperatures in the double digits below zero. But the pitchers and catchers and hitters are all here at Hammond Stadium. And we're going to bring you some of that coming up in hour 2 of Drive Time with DeRUSHA. It's Jason. Dan is here live on CCO, streaming live on the Odyssey app, and also streaming with video on YouTube at the WCCO radio channel and on Facebook at the WCCO radio page. So last night, I'm at the grocery store here in Fort Myers, and I was picking up some dinner, picking up, just getting some water, getting some Diet Coke, you know the deal. And you get there, and it's that decision point. Do I go to the self-checkout with my 8 items, or do I make an opportunity to make a friend? You know me.
I do, and I know we would make a very different decision in this.
You're the king of self-checkout.
Yes.
I am make a friend. There have been recent efforts to try to change and save self-checkout, but I believe that self-checkout cannot be saved because we, the American people, are idiots. 651-461-9226. Self-checkout is terrible and always will be terrible because we refuse to observe any sort of common sense. And Dan and I were talking about the various archetypes of self-checkout users, right? Like they're different people. So you have the person that self-checkout is designed for, and that person is Dan Cook.
Yes.
You have a small order.
Yes.
You know how to use a scanner.
Yes.
You don't like talking to other people.
Correct.
It's for you.
Yeah.
Now, I will say I am pretty good at self-checkout, even with produce. I can look up the item quickly. I can weigh it. I can get it done. I can find the 4 code, the number. Frankly, I sometimes am better than the teenage cashier at the Lunds and Byerly's who isn't quite sure if it's cilantro or is it mint. So, like, I have a little bit of confidence at the self-checkout.
And you forgot one other aspect, and we actually both share this one. I'm also a rule follower. So the odds of me stealing anything by bringing up something cheaper or trying to pull a fast one at the self-checkout is virtually nil. You are also a rule follower.
I am.
You're not going to be that person to do
it
either.
I'm not going to steal.
Right.
I heard on the morning news with Vanita, Steve Simpson was saying that he saw a poll that indicated something like 15% of people admit that they have stolen. What is wrong with people?
And wasn't it like a further 40% of that group said that they're absolutely
they do it again?
Yeah. What are you thinking?
In Washington State, a legislator is introducing a bill that would establish rules for when and how self-checkout stands could be used. If passed, self-checkouts could only be used when a regular checkout lane is open, so it wouldn't cost jobs. An employee who monitors self-service lanes would have to do so exclusively. Customers would be limited to just 15 items to check out. I mean, look,
it's insanity.
Self-checkout, I'm not a fan of. I also don't think we need the legislature weighing in on this, right? Like, come on.
Oh, it's ridiculous. And, that bill, just the structure of it, defeats the purpose of self-check. I mean, let's be honest. We heard, you hear the corporate speak about it, talking about, this is more efficient for our customers and is improving the customer experience. No, this is about overhead, right? That's why people went with self-checkout to begin with. It's, we don't have to have as many cashiers because customers will just do it themselves. And plenty of customers want to do it themselves. They're like me. They want to do it, so let's save ourselves some money. And what they didn't realize is that people were going to rob these stores blind, apparently.
Yes.
And there's so much more theft going on that whatever savings that they're realizing by having fewer cashiers isn't being realized because of all the theft. But you do this, you're just doubling the problem, right? Now they're actually having to spend more money because not only do they have to have cashiers enough to say, you can only use this when there's no cashiers, but then you're going to actually have to have a person that's hired to
Yes.
stand, and that's their only job, is to stand by the self checkout lanes and watch people.
But
what
this,
are we doing?
what this goes to, though, is dumb as I think this legislation is, it goes to how self-checkouts are broken. People are bringing too many things. You have too many people who are bringing a whole cart and think they know how to look up a produce item. You also have what I never understand is the people who are lining up to wait for the self-checkout when you could just go in the line and go to a cashier. Much quicker. Almost always it's quicker. Target is changing how they do self-checkouts. In many stores, they're limiting it to just 10. They're talking about bringing an express self-checkout. Could we just have the cashier back? How many different aisles of self-checkout do we need? Just bring the cashier back. 651-461-9226. Down with self-checkout, says a 952er. Nobody is better off with it. The employees aren't better, the stores aren't better, and the customers aren't really better either. Dan Cook, self-checkout user.
I'm pretty sure I'm better.
Why?
Because I get in and out much more quickly.
Do you?
I do.
Wouldn't it be equally fast if they had like 2 more cashiers?
No.
Where are you shopping that it's so clogged up?
No, because then I have to actually answer questions. And when I do it myself, I
Just
don't have
don't
to
say
answer any
anything. Just
Well,
let
no, but they're asking,
act like
you know.
you don't speak English. Just like
that'll work really, really well.
just give it a go.
Yeah, for sure.
A Walmart cashier texting it. Self-checkout, those who don't know how to use it need to go to a cashier, please. Yeah. And I would love to have a text as to what is the most irritating self-checkout user. Like what is the category? You know what I mean? I was thinking the produce guy. You know, Mr. Granola, who's got his cart full of, you got your kale, you got your radicchio, and you're going to try to look up what the code is. You don't even know how to spell radicchio.
I don't have any idea what that even is.
It's kind of a bitter green. Kind of red and white in color.
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
It's not stealing, says a texter. This is amazing. It's not stealing. If you steal at the self-checkout, you're not really stealing because you're doing the job of an employee who's no longer being paid, and neither are you.
Yeah, no, that's still stealing.
So it's a couple of bucks. A store is still ahead of the game. Your labor is essentially like you paying for the.
Sorry.
No?
That's an excellent attempt. But no, you're still guilty of theft.
Another texter says the same thing. Do people really think this?
Apparently.
This is amazing. I've never even considered this. I think a lot of people rationalize stealing from the store when they're at the self-checkout. If the store is going to make them do the work and take care of it myself, I'm going to take something to be compensated for it.
But
oh my gosh.
Let's step back for a second. The store's not making anybody do anything. You've chosen the
well,
self-checkout.
I don't know, Dan. Like when you have one cashier and 40 people ready to check out, the store is sort of making you use the self-checkout.
Under what circumstances is there one cashier? Where at store is there one cashier and 40 people waiting to check out? I feel that's a bit of hyperbole on your
Let's
part.
not fact check the hyperbole. I have seen it. Hy-Vee got rid of their self-checkout because of that.
Yeah.
What are people stealing at the grocery store?
Well, I mean, eggs at this
Well,
day and
I
age.
guess, but like, what is the ripoff? What I guess meat. I think it used to weigh. We were talking about this before, where remember the early days of self-checkout, and if you didn't put the thing immediately in the bag, the machine would yell at you
It'd
like
give you some sort of error
right,
message. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and then they stopped doing that because if you had a greeting card and you tucked that in and it didn't feel the greeting card hit the bottom.
That's right.
Then,
But I don't think they weigh anymore.
I don't think they do either.
I don't think I've ever gotten yelled at, and so maybe people just think
And
it's.
I'm not sure, in terms of theft, I'm not sure the grocery. I'm sure it happens at grocery stores, but I'm not sure that's where the biggest stop loss is.
It's the
happening.
Target, it's the Wall. But Hy-Vee got rid of it, although Hy-Vee has lots of other.
Right.
Grocery stores. I suppose I have watched Supermarket Sweep, and if you're trying to get the most value, when you hear that
Sure.
beep beep, it's the Supermarket.
How long
Sweep.
have you been waiting to get a supermarket sweep mentioned?
It's an
onto
excellent
this
show. You know what? Supermarket Sweep doesn't have self-checkouts, okay? At the end, even
That's
the
true.
game show
That's
has
true.
the cashiers. I think it's interesting that stores drug check potential employees, but any loser can use self-checkout. It's not wrong. Jeff in Sauk Rapids. Jeff, how's the weather in Sauk Rapids today?
It's absolutely horrible, and you know it.
I don't. I mean, it
don't
just
sit here and play innocent with me, buddy. You're looking at the forecast.
You know what? It feels good to hear you say it, though. It really does.
We have a small fan in the booth here. I think we should point that north, turn it on, and see if
Okay,
we can't
there
blow
you
some
go.
of this warm air
Send it
up
to you.
their way.
Self-checkout. What do
I
you
appreciate it.
what do you want to say, Jeff?
I am totally team cashier.
Yeah.
These big corporations have brought these problems upon themselves by being cheap. They think they can save a nickel by somehow blowing smoke up our skirt and letting us think that this is going to be faster. All the while, I'm doing the work for somebody that they should be paying, and it ain't working.
Yeah.
And now they're getting stolen from, and et cetera, et cetera. So it couldn't happen to a nicer bunch. I say, can the whole works? Give us the cashiers back.
Yeah.
That's
Hy-Vee's
what it is.
doing it.
You know, I mean,
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%, Jeff.
if I have to scan my own stuff and read the codes and bag it, automated one, then why doesn't the darn thing automatically say apply a 5 to 10% discount towards me?
That's what
Are
I
we
always
doing that
thought.
work?
Why don't I get the
I'm doing that
employee?
work.
I want the employee discount if I'm.
I'll take it.
Right.
That's what I would
Yeah.
like. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. Okay, lots of textures coming through with stories about the way people are stealing using the self-checkout. I guess maybe I'm too trusting. Said me never. But I had not considered some of this. We'll share some of those texts. 651-461-9226. Coming back live drive time at Minnesota Twins spring training. Byron Buxton coming up in just about 15 minutes here on CCM.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSHA, live from Twins Spring Training. Presented by the islands and beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company and sunny Fort Myers. If there was ever a time to get it off your chest.
I loved what you said, but two things I disagree with.
If there was ever a time to speak up.
I think it is a bit inexcusable.
To speak out.
You know, they're abusing their power. They're playing victim. They act like little children.
To make sure your voice is heard.
They started it.
The time is now.
There's a lot of corruption on both sides.
That's how the world works.
The place is the talk and text line. 651-461-9226. On News Talk 830 WCCO.
You know, we've all gotten unsolicited cash offers for our homes. I get it. It can make moving less stressful. But if you go that route, there's a good chance you'll be leaving money on the table. Hey, it's Vanita. If you're thinking of selling and don't want the stress, call my buddy, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group Coldwell Banker Realty. Corinne just worked with John to sell a loved one's home. She wanted the convenience and she got it. John helped her. His marketing system helped get multiple offers for Corinne's home. All the attention led to her home selling for $30,000 over the asking, $75,000 more than that below market investor cash offer she originally got. Contact John for full details, 952-222-9000, online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
If you're suffering from burning, tingling, or numb feet, you need to pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Carl of Aspire Integrated Health. What is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is actually nerve damage to the hands, feet, and legs.
And what are the symptoms?
The major symptoms are numbness, tingling, burning, muscle cramps, coldness in hands or feet, and problems with balance.
So is neuropathy treatable?
It is absolutely treatable, and we can get some great results.
Call 651-504-3333 today to schedule a nerve damage screening.
Your nerve damage screening will tell you if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our innovative treatment program.
Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe that nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. Call 651-504-3333. The first 25 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 651-504-3333. 3333. Dr. Lindsay Tevlin, DC. Results may vary.
The following heartwarming yet informative scene is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Son, your grandpa and I used to work on this car together, and when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Wow. Thanks, Dad. Doesn't count. What you need is a will. Luckily, Trust and Will makes it easy. Designed by attorneys, but customized by you, you can easily create a state-specific, legally valid document that actually counts. Now, let's let the engine do the talking, am I right? Start your will at trustandwill.com. Use offer code COUNT for 10% off and make it count. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. For details, see trustandwill.com.
Do you feel like you're going through life clouded by doubt? Talk to California Psychics. Our trusted and accurate psychics are available 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at californiapsychics.com. Right now, new customers get 80% off their first reading. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Drive Time with DeRUSHA is live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
I'm having dinner at the Luminary tonight. DeRUSHA Eats coming up in about 20 minutes when Dan will regale you about some of the Florida cuisine we had for lunch today. You're going to love it. We're talking about self-checkout. I did not realize how many thieves are out there. It's truly unbelievable. Jason watched a mother with 3 children. She was pregnant. She gave each one of the children an item, and they just ran around. She never scanned any of the items. People also take storage buckets, and they put steaks or shirts in between them, and they just count the buckets and total that price. My goodness. That is crazy. Josh Wheeler, who is running the board for us back at headquarters at WCCO. I know, Josh, you work part-time at Target. You've probably seen all of this kind of stuff too, right?
Yeah, so 2 things. The theft thing is real. They close self-checkout usually, at least at my store, around 8 or 9, but around 9-ish, because theft has been kind of the thing with self-checkout, and because it's aptly placed so close to the entrances and exits of Target, they close it down because the rates, I guess, statistically have been higher in those hours and those time frames. And 2, I prefer self-checkout, and I will throw my company under the bus because people don't know how to bag groceries properly. If you can do it yourself, do it yourself. Ooh. That's what that is the team that I am on.
I hadn't considered that.
Yeah.
Well, can't you just bag it? Like, just ask the cashier, like, hey, do you mind if I bag it?
I mean, they're behind the counter. You can't really get to the bags, but and I don't want people rolling my iceberg lettuce off the ledge onto the floor. Right. Where if you go to Whole Foods, you can typically bag it on your own, or Hy-Vee, you can bag it on your own, because I've worked at Whole Foods before, and people sometimes prefer that.
A texter notes that radicchio and kale are both iceberg lettuce if you're making me ring it up. You just go for the cheapest possible thing.
Thievery.
Last 2 times I saw people shoplifting at the store, they were putting food in their coats, and both went to self-checkout. Wow. What is wrong with you people? I know, now I just got a text from a friend, and I'm not going to out who this person is, but this friend of mine kind of stole a robot vacuum from the self-checkout at Target. He needed help with the checkout and asked for help and said, don't forget the vacuum, and then they didn't scan it.
And he didn't point it out that they hadn't done it?
Well, he didn't realize it until he got the receipt later. Now, you'd think you would notice that it was maybe $250 light.
I mean, you might.
Buddy, but
you might.
At a certain point, you're like, I can only help these people so much.
Hey, this is
I
a heck
told
of a
them
deal.
to ring it up.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And you're like, you know what? Enough. I did not know there was so much thievery out there. Don't people feel guilty about it?
We were
maybe they
this.
do. So many texters are saying they justify it by saying because they have to do the self-checkout. But we all know, like, that is a load of crap. You're a thief. You're a horrible human. You're a scumbag. And you are justifying it by some nonsense about like, oh, they make me ring it up. Give me a break.
We were talking about this earlier today. I don't know if it's growing up with a cop for a dad or if it's, just my general personality of assuming that if I do something wrong, I'm going to walk out the door and the piano is going to fall on my head. Whatever it is. It never even occurs to me in that situation. Like, hey, maybe I could get this for a little bit cheap. No, I just bring it up and what it is what it is.
I've corrected cashiers before who rang up like the wrong thing.
I've seen you do it.
And sometimes it ends up costing me more.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not going to lie. I feel sort of stupid in that scenario.
But that's your reflex though, right?
You're like, oh, no, that's not right or whatever.
Yeah.
If no one's texting and confessing that they're the thief.
No, it's always this guy I know.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen these other people. Yeah, sure.
Texter says, I want to steal. Let me steal. Mind your business and maybe help yourself to something too. Maybe I would change my whole. What do you think about that? Should I consider getting into the thieving business?
No, you should not. That's a terrible idea and you should toss it immediately.
I feel like I'd be a decent thief.
No, you're too honest of a person.
I look pretty trustworthy. Well, that's exactly it.
Yeah. But you look like a trustworthy person because you are a trustworthy person. If you became a non-trustworthy person, I don't think you don't have that great a poker
I have like a
face.
big overcoat. Like I could get like a ribeye in there for sure.
If you go back to some of your
Some
pre-Libya
pork chops.
clothes, you'd have a lot of room.
Yeah.
There you go.
Get the big boy clothes on and off we go. Well, if they're closing self-checkouts because of theft,
you're happy.
I love
Whatever,
it.
yeah.
I love it. Give me a couple more cashiers. Let's talk about our days.
Oh my God.
Let's have a nice moment. Just don't ask me. Like I do get a little nervous when they ask about like certain items as they roll by on the bell.
What is this for?
Yeah. Mind your business. You know what? Sometimes I get a little backed up. All right. Jeez.
Okay.
Drive.
We knew what you meant, Jason.
That was good. Like,
yeah,
that's. I feel like that was the out. Hit the thing, hit the button, and we'll be back with. when you make a constipation joke, that's pretty much
that's the end of the segment.
That's the end of the segment. Byron Buxton, Simeon, Woods-Richardson, a couple of Twins player interviews coming up next.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA, live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the islands and beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
Oh my goodness. Minnesota Pork urges you to stop stealing the Minnesota pork out of your local retailer. They get it. It's so delicious. You might want to go to your butcher shop and grab a bunch of pork chops and then get a pork shoulder. Maybe you want to grab some bacon. And they understand, like, you want to take it and you want to just make a run for it, but they urge you, no. 3,000 family pig farmers every corner of this state. They're trying to feed their family. Don't you steal their pork. Minnesota pork is delicious. It does feel like a steal, honestly. When you look at the price of protein right now, Minnesota pork is an incredible value. And when you think about cost per calorie, I like to think about the bargain you get with Minnesota pork because you are getting tons of protein. So many people are wasting money on protein powders and special bars and all this stuff when a Minnesota pork chop has about 60 grams of protein in it. Low fat, high protein, packed with nutrients. It's delicious on top of that. So feel good. Go to that grocery store. Make sure you ring it up. None of this stealing stuff at the self-checkout. Go to the butcher shop and let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight. Oh, yeah.
Valspar products make any project easy. Valspar Exterior Stain and Sealer makes preserving your fence a breeze. Valspar Reserve makes updating the den a piece of cake.
The red velvet.
And giving your siding new life with Valspar Defense is a walk in the park. So no matter what projects are on your list, Valspar has everything you need to make it a day at the beach. Valspar, made for more. Get it at Lowe's.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
So what are your thoughts on the new year? Maybe healthier living, more sleep, less pain? Jordana here. My friends at MInneapolis are hoping for the same things, and they are delivering with their awesome CBD products. They are helping to destigmatize CBD all over Minnesota with MInneapolis products. I use so many of them. The Sleep Night Gummies, I absolutely love. The Triple Diamond Pain Cream for pain anywhere, all over your body, really, truly works. Check them out. MINNEALEAF.com. Minnesota's home of its best legal products. These products are third-party tested and 100% natural. This is your year to live pain-free, to have better sleep, to live a healthier life. MINNEALEAF.com. Tell them Jordana sent you.
MINNEALEAF means quality. Taste happy at MINNEALEAF.com.
You're at home. MerrittChev.com. You need a vehicle. MerrittChev.com. Wherever you are, MerrittChev.com. Shop in the comfort of your home on MerrittChev.com, where all their prices are clearly marked for their all new and used vehicles. It's like a virtual test drive. Merritt Chevrolet is the full service real deal with sales, service, body shop, and parts. Just off Century and I-94, or you guessed it, MerrittChev.com. Merritt Chevrolet, the dealership right in your backyard. Together, let's drive. See dealer for details.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Rush has been cleared. 280 southbound at I-94. Things running much smoother as you make way through the stretch. Looks like we got a crash working South 35E near 494. Do use caution. It's already slow as you come down from Highway 62. Traveling West 94 to downtown Minneapolis. That's a slow ride coming in from Riverside to the downtown stretch. West 36, watching some towing there. Hamlin Avenue over 235W. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw and Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw and Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant, seeking justice for the injured. Let's get the latest weather forecast from our friend, Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
We're not adding any snow, but in a few days, we'll be melting snow. Not tonight. It's a cold weather advisory. We'll fall back to 11 below, but still feeling like 25 below early tomorrow morning. Mostly cloudy tomorrow afternoon with a high of 8, up to 15 Thursday. Saturday, a high in the 30s. By Sunday, we could hit 40. That could carry over into next week as well.
We have rebounded in our temperature in the Twin Cities. In Woodbury right now, it feels like 4 below. It is sunny and 3 on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA, live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
Live in Fort Myers, Florida, it's Jason, it's Dan, Drive Time with DeRusha, broadcasting live from Hammond Stadium, the Lee County Sports Complex out here. It is a complex. You've got the main field, if you've ever been down to spring training to watch a game, and the first game is Saturday. If you've ever been down here, it is a great minor league ballpark, right? Typical kind of county-owned minor league ballpark. It's got some age on it. It's small, it's fun, it's tight, it's full of energy when you're packed and watching the big league players. But it's a big complex because you have a number of fields out here, batting cages all over the place. You've got a minor league complex where players are staying here. It is a fun atmosphere for sure, because it is the first week where everybody's down here, and a lot of players have been here for a week, but everybody has been in effect. It is day 2 of the formal full team workouts. You do get a great opportunity to get up close and personal and talk with some of the players. One of my favorite guys to talk with is Byron Buxton. He is for sure the heart and soul, along with Carlos Correa. Those two are the studs. They're the stars on this team. And Buck is, he's had a rough go, and he is just, the talent is incredible. When he is out of the outfield, there's an electricity to his game that, I don't know that we have seen too many players better than Byron Buxton out in center field. Now, at the plate, there's that similar electricity, right? When Byron's up, you know you've always got a chance for something big to happen. Last year was the first season in quite a long time that he played more than 100 games. And this is the first off season where he was not rehabbing. So he was able to really hone in and focus on his game and focus on his head, his mental readiness, as he hopes to get beyond 100 games this year. Here's a little bit of the conversation we had with Byron Buxton. Last year when we were talking, you were talking about just how much pain you were in one season ago. What was it like to go through 100 games feeling pretty good? Did you feel pretty good?
I made it. I mean, I went on the IL last year, so at some point I didn't feel good. So it's one of those things, keep in perspective. Don't take this for granted. Go out there every day, treat it like it's your last, and have fun doing it.
When you look at kind of this team, and really for a while now, you and Correa are sort of, you're the soul of the team. Rocco said you guys are the heart and the soul, and everyone looks to you. How do you deal with that? How do you look at your role as sort of the leader for these guys?
Go about my business. Like, I'm not about to change just because I'm put in a new role. Like, when you change, that's when things don't go your way. So I'm still the same person I was when I walked in here as a rookie. Like, yeah, I'm a leader, but to these guys, I'm just one of the teammates, one of the brothers that they can come up and talk to. Obviously, when you put a title on it and you have young guys that come in here, they feel different, like they can't talk to you. And that's how it was when I came up. I'm not going to be like that. I want you to be able to talk, communicate, and do whatever you want to do and make yourself better as a player, but also as a person, because this game's going to end.
That's right. Yeah, and you never know when that time.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
New hitting approach this year with the team. Your thoughts on that?
I ain't had the meeting yet to get too much into that, but we hit this off season together. It was good. Didn't change nothing. Worked on little bitty stuff that could help me out as far as my game plan, but nothing physically or mechanically in my swing. So that was a positive note when obviously new hitting guy coming in and just letting you know that you're on the right track is puts you in a positive
Feels
spot.
good. Yeah.
Feels good.
Yeah, for sure. It's 10 below back in Minnesota right now. I know.
I don't even know what. That's crazy. I was there Twins Fest.
Right.
And it was colder in Georgia than Minnesota at that time because we had just got snow. And then probably you just said, how many days have been snowing in Minnesota? About 2-3 weeks? Probably the last 2-3 weeks, it's been like 75 in Georgia. So it's been like a complete 360.
Yeah. We did it right. We did it right being here this week. I'll
You
tell
did.
that much.
You
Yeah,
did.
that
It's
worked out.
definitely the best time to be down here with the Twins in Fort Myers.
Your style, by the way, I think you've won the locker room today, which hurts Dustin for sure, but
I'm just normal, just casual.
Looks good, man.
It's my little pajama suit. Now I'm playing.
We're excited for you. Glad to get back at it. Good to see you. Thank you. That's Byron Buxton talking in the clubhouse. He looked good. He had a matching set, like his shorts and his short sleeve shirt. And, a good conversation with Byron as he really tries to get a sense as to maybe what would a full season be like where he wasn't in pain, wasn't on the IL. And, the Twins, we were talking to Carlos Correa about this today. Dan, the Twins are just a better team when you've got Carlos and Byron and Royce Lewis in the lineup. And if you can keep those three guys, it's always a big if, right? But if you could keep those three healthy, it makes this team a lot more fun.
Oh, there's no question about it. I think the statistic somebody quoted was like there was 22 games last year where all three of those guys were in the lineup at the same time. And in a 162 game season, that's not nearly enough. But of course, each one of these guys are dealing with different injuries of different sorts. And Byron's just had, obviously a run of very, very bad luck. I mean, you see the kind of condition that he's in. You know that he's out there working hard, and he's working with doctors to try and keep him on the field, as is Carlos, as is Royce. So, are you going to get 162 games out of a Byron Buxton? No, you're never going to get.
No,
but could
you get 120?
That would be amazing for the Twins. That would be huge for the Twins because you've seen when Byron's out there for long stretches of time and he feels good, physically, he's as good a baseball player as there is on this planet. I mean, he really, really is. His ability to affect the game in all phases is just incredible. So he's a big key. Obviously, Carlos is, and obviously Royce is as well. Those guys have to be able to figure out a way to stay as healthy as they can and manage their workloads and do the things that they need to do in order to stay on the field, because there aren't reinforcements coming, right?
That's right.
This team
is
is
what it is.
So.
Let's talk about pitching, because the competition to see who will be maybe the fifth starter for the Minnesota Twins is going to be fierce. David Festa, Zebby Matthews, a couple of the younger pitchers who have been in the mix, and Simeon Woods-Richardson, who really had an amazing sort of ability to succeed at the start of last season. Last season, he pitched 133 plus innings. During the first 82 innings, he was killing it. 3.51 ERA. Over his last 51 innings, 5.23 ERA. Just really not unusual for a very young pitcher. He's 24. What will happen this year? Part of what has captivated a lot of fans and a lot of media members has been his personality. A little bit of personality that you'll get in this early morning interview with Simeon Woods-Richardson. It's the charisma, huh?
Man, I just try to connect with the fans because they support us with everything we do. So we do is touch light with them. So.
It is supposed to be fun, right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
How are you feeling?
Feel great, taking one day at a time. We're in spring training, get together with all the guys, get together with all the coaches. Again, it's always fun. We're in that go mode now, so it's fun.
When did you get out here?
About a week ago.
And then what's the routine like for you?
Just get here at 7:30. Clubhouse opens at 8. Go do treatment, go do soft tissue, and kind of get ready for practice. Whatever's on the schedule, that's what we're going with.
Is this, for you, is spring training more about the mental side of getting ready, or is there the physicality and getting the reps in?
I think it's both. It's knowing mentally where you are, trying to work on your goals before season. And then physically, it's just keeping your body healthy. This is the first time the guys are ramping up in competitive competition again. So making sure you have enough knowledge to know what your body's doing and what to do to control it.
How much does the pitching staff kind of work together? Do you pick up stuff from other guys, or is it more of an individual, like I'm working with my coach and my thing?
We've always bounced ideas off of each other. That's what I think I love this organization the most, is that we can talk to conversation. You see Chris Paddock over there. I'll go talk to him any day of the week just to see, hey, what'd you see? What'd you feel? What do you think? And we just bounce ideas off of each other. That's why I kind of really like this organization.
Are there certain players you vibe with more where you're like, all right, this is my guy?
No, we all have the same goal. We all have the same attitude. So it's like when everybody's on the same mission, it's easy to communicate with.
Do you like, this time to kind of just really like, there are some new guys on the team as well? Like, is spring training fun, or is it more like I want to get into the season? Let's get going.
I think it has to be a mixture of both, because then you have to take that into the season. That's the only way you build camaraderie and build team relationships. So, yeah.
What was your off season like?
It was great. Just staying ready, staying with time with family. That's the biggest time we do, is spend time with family, just because you don't see them all throughout the season. So catching up with loved ones, catching up with friends and family.
If you didn't play baseball, what would you be doing?
A chef. Yeah.
You love to cook?
Yeah, I go to culinary school.
What's your cuisine? What would it be? What's your go-to meal? What do you make?
Well, since we're in Texas, anybody comes in town, you have to cook a nice steak and potato. But other than that, it could be Italian, it could be Korean, it could be Tex-Mex, it could be whatever. So, yeah.
Do you get to have fun down here, or is it just work, like you're working?
I think you try to have a little bit of both. Yeah. At the end of the day, we are back at work. We've had all this time to sit down. So get back to work. And then you give yourself a little mental break when you need to.
We're on the home of the Twins, WCCO Radio. Fans last year, the end of the season, left maybe a bad taste in some people's mouths, probably left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. What do you say to fans as they, get ready to get back into Twins baseball?
And guess what? It's a new year. Whatever happened last year, you can't go out and control that no more. So we got to go out this year and have the same mission we've been striving for this whole time. We came up short, but this time they ain't. So.
You need the energy in Target Field when the fans are there. It's
amazing. It's amazing. That's the way you see us acting out on the field, is just because of you guys. Yeah. We love the energy. We love the camaraderie. We love everything about Target Field that just allows us to be ourselves. And they support us. They love us. And that's everything we could do.
Good stuff. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Simeon Woods-Richardson with us. It'll be an interesting kind of, you'll see the rotation that we saw a lot last year, players coming up and down from AAA, and we'll see where Sim ends up in that process, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I would think at this point he's probably penciled in as your number 5
You would
starter
think so,
to
yeah.
start the year.
Yeah.
But as we've heard, Twin staff talk about over and over and over again, you don't go through 162 games with 5 starting pitchers. You go through 162 games with 8, 10, sometimes 12 starting pitchers, depending on just how it works out with guys' health. So Sim's going to be involved one way or the other. Does he start, the year with the big club? Maybe, maybe not. But you will absolutely see him plenty out at Target Field this season. And he ran out of gas at the end of the season. We heard him talk a little bit about that, but he's a guy that showed a lot of promise and,
young
and had that opportunity to learn from that
Yep.
experience. Oh, here's what it feels like to go 144 innings over the course of a season.
That's right.
So let's see what happens, when he's got a chance to work on it in the offseason and come in a little better shape.
We are going to break. We'll come back with DeRUSHA Eats live from Florida. Yes, Dan will reveal where we went for lunch today. Everyone asked me. They're like, Jason, you're in Florida. You're in Fort Myers. Where are you going? You can't wait to share it, can you?
No, I really can't.
So we'll do that. Plus, I want to talk about sort of really a major end of an era. One of the last old school saloon keepers in Minneapolis has died. We'll talk about that next on DeRUSHA Eats.
Drive Time with DeRusha is live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
We're speaking with UCare's Albert Reed. Can you tell me what the difference is in Original Medicare, Medicare Advantage, and Medicare Supplement plans?
So Original Medicare is your basic foundation. It's comprised of 2 parts. That's going to be Medicare Part A, which is hospital coverage, and then Part B, which is the medical coverage. Medicare itself is designed to cover about 80% of your overall medical costs with no out-of-pocket limit. And then you have your Medicare supplement plans. They're designed to help cover the other 20% that Medicare leaves off. Great for folks that want to pay one monthly cost and ensure that their costs are covered for medical. And then lastly, there's Medicare Advantage plans will combine all the benefits of Part A and Part B, and likely will include Part D.
Okay, so why UCare?
We're friendly. We have a local customer service available 7 days a week. We do have a large dedicated broker network that's willing to take all the time needed to help you find the right plan to secure your long-term health.
For more, contact a local broker and visit ucare.org.
If only there was an easy guide to follow to sell your home for thousands of dollars more than you otherwise could. Oh, wait, there is. Hey, it's Vanita. You've been hearing me talk about my buddy, the Good Neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Those home sellers forums that I've told you about that really work. Scott and Renee went to one and followed John's blueprint for success. There are 5 different marketing options for you to choose from, and all of them work. Scott and Renee really benefited from them. Their home sold for more than $10,000 over the asking price. Trusting the John Schuster Group was the right decision for them. He knows what he's doing. His team, they know what they're doing. Contact John for full details. 952-222-9000. Online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. Clothing, JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Celebrate twice as much with NordVPN's birthday deal. Get 72% off and a coupon for up to 1 year free. Visit NordVPN and discover the benefits. Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. Encrypt your online traffic. Reduce the risk of phishing, scams, and malware with NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro. Get the special birthday deal at NordVPN.com. Additional terms apply. NordVPN.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Highway 36 westbound Cleveland Avenue crash just cleared out of the way. Left lane's been reopened, still slow past Selling Avenue. South 35E at 494. Got the accident with injuries. Look for the left lane to be affected. Driving slow through the area. 35W northbound on the ramp to westbound 94 downtown Minneapolis. Crash working on the ramp right at the start, blocking the right side. They're trying to get things cleared out of the way, but in the meantime, do use caution there. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
With a well-designed will, trust, and estate plan, you can have peace of mind. Choose Matt Gutman of Gutman Law to give yourself peace of mind. Call him now, 612-895-1616 at gutmanlaw.com. Gutman Law, peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Will's Trust in Probate Law, gutmanlaw.com, bringing us the weather forecast from WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer. Cold weather advisory in the overnight to early morning hours. It will feel like 25 to 30 below again tomorrow morning. The high tomorrow will be 8. Thursday, we start warming up. We get to 15. But then it'll be good. 30s by Saturday, 40 by Sunday. Right now in St. Louis Park, we are looking at 3 degrees here on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSHA, live from Twins Spring Training. Presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company and sunny Fort Myers.
DeRUSHA. He has the eats.
Nobody brings you the Twin Cities restaurant scene like our favorite foodie. Now, Jason explores some of the great chefs, owners, and stories right in our own backyard as Drive Time transitions into DeRUSHA Eats.
And DeRUSHA Eats is brought to you by the Minnesota Pork Board and Surdyk's Liquor and Cheese Shop. And I wanted to start with an end of an era. I've long thought that one of the strange parts of our community is the fact that you don't have too many bars. You know, a good old school neighborhood corner bar. Some of this is legislation that requires a certain percentage of food to be sold. Some of it is real estate that we just don't have those great spaces anymore. But the owner of Lee's Liquor Lounge, Louis Simeon, died on Saturday. He sold Lee's Liquor Lounge 10 years ago, but he helped make it into just an incredible live music hub. There was even a song written about it. Everybody, when you went to Lee's, you knew it was Louis. He bought it from a guy named Lee, but he didn't change the sign, which tells you really all you need to know about the guy. Died peacefully in his sleep at age 88. But it does make me think of something that you have all throughout greater Minnesota through, the Brainerd Lakes area. You got your kind of the bar that people hang out in. St. Paul has a little more of a bar culture, but it is something that I think, whether you drink or not, that sort of neighborhood vibe I think it's important. And certainly today, our restaurant and food scene is enormous, right? It's big money, big options, big choices. But there was a simpler time when it was about a cold pint of beer and maybe some popcorn or some peanuts, and that was it. and live music really was an innovation for sure. So thoughts to his family and thanks to Louis Syrian for all the years. Dan, we are in Florida. Everybody asked me when you're in Fort Myers, because maybe they plan a trip down, where are you guys eating? Where are you eating? And today, Dan, where we go for lunch?
You would tell them it's none of your business.
Oh, you think so?
Find the food yourself.
That's what I would. That's what I should tell people.
We went to Culver's for lunch, which is a perfectly acceptable place to have lunch. I don't know why this is a thing.
I mean, it's a little funny. A little funny.
It was a good lunch.
Yes, it was.
Right now, you can get the outdoor furniture you love with 0% financing, but only until February 24th. That means you can start your patio plans today and pay over time with no interest. Why wait? Order now and your furniture will be ready for you when spring arrives. Plus, check out 2 stunning new wood grain colors and dozens of fresh designs, so you can make your backyard truly one of a kind. Visit our showrooms in Jordan, Maple Grove, or Woodbury, or shop online at buytheyard.net. Hurry, 0% financing ends February 24th. 0% financing subject to credit approval.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-885-1010. 800-885-1010. Again, that's 800-885-1010.
We could all use more time. Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions, so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. I can see why they call it smart. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Consistent updates in a constantly changing world. News Talk 830, WCCO, 1029 KMNB HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Michael Wallace. During talks in Saudi Arabia today, the U.S. and Russia agreed to work toward ending the war in Ukraine.
President Trump says he will likely meet with Russian President Putin by the end of the month, and says while the meetings in Saudi Arabia have gone well,
much more confident.
He's disappointed by Ukrainian complaints about being frozen out of the talks.
Today I heard, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal. I could have made a deal for Ukraine that would have given them almost all of the land.
Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
Parts of the South and Mid-Atlantic are gearing up for a snowstorm. This man waited in a long line at a grocery store in Arkansas's Ozarks.
We heard the weather was going to hit. We didn't know if it was going to be snow or whether it was going to be ice or a combination of both. And we didn't want to be caught short with what we needed.
In the upper Midwest, the frigid air is the big story. Eric lives in Bowman, North Dakota.
Well, last time I checked, it was negative 28, and that's without wind chill. So the type of cold out there that, I don't know, like the dry kind of cold. And breathe and you start coughing on your own breath.
A federal judge today refused to block Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency from digging into federal agencies. CBS's Natalie Brand asked Virginians their opinions on Doge.
Everyone had a strong opinion, ranging from fear to applauding the government-wide cuts.
They're just slashing people without any kind of thoughtful consideration of what they do.
Unfortunately, we do have to pull the rug out after a while. I mean, the spigot has got to stop.
Critics of the Department of Government Efficiency told me that they feel like their lawmakers, particularly Republicans, are not doing enough to ask questions or push back.
The JFK Library in Boston blamed a Trump executive order for having to close today. It was told to lay off all its probationary employees. The library now says it will reopen tomorrow. The Vatican says the Pope has pneumonia in both lungs. CBS's Sabina Castelfranco is in Rome.
A statement said new tests that were carried out in the hospital showed a further complication in the Pope's condition. The respiratory infection the Pope is now suffering from requires the use of cortisone antibiotic treatment.
Hamas will release the bodies of 4 hostages Thursday, including members of the Bibas family, whose young red-headed boys were caught on video being abducted with their mother. The BBC's Mark Lowen.
Those Bibas boys have become really iconic symbols across Israel of the brutality of the Hamas attack on the 7th of October. They are on murals. They are very much seen as symbolic of the 7th of October attack.
Hamas plans to release 6 living hostages Saturday. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Sunny and 3 degrees with a wind chill of 13 below at 5:03. Good evening. I'm Mark Fry. We're learning more about some of the Minnesotans who were on board the Delta flight that crashed in Toronto yesterday.
Toronto. We just landed.
This is sound from cell phone video of passengers racing to get off the plane.
Fire department's on site.
In the chaos, people recorded video of Michael Braunschweig helping out. He is an employee of Twin Cities-based Starkey, the hearing aid company. He said in a statement he's grateful that all fellow passengers and crew are safe and was surprised to see that he'd been captured on video. He said he's still processing the experience and is asking for privacy. The CEO of the company confirmed there were 2 employees on board that flight. He said both are safe and getting the care they need. Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Today marks 1 year since 3 Burnsville first responders were killed in a fatal ambush.
Officer Paul Elmstrand, Officer Matthew Ruge, and firefighter paramedic Adam Finseth were fatally shot by a suspect during a domestic abuse call. In the wake of their deaths, Burnsville City Council declared February 18th Public Safety Memorial Day, where the day will be spent honoring the 3 with planned remarks from city leaders. Burnsville Deputy Fire Chief Neil Dwyer.
I don't even know necessarily where to begin with just how grateful we are for the incredible support that we've received from not only the city council, the city staff, but the communities. It's truly been overwhelming, and it's really difficult to put into words just how much that has really meant to us all.
There is an all-day display of 3 wreaths at City Hall, and all Burnsville city facilities are illuminated in blue and red. Al Shock, News Talk 830 WCCO.
More trouble for embattled DFL State Senator Nicole Mitchell. Senate Republicans today announcing plans to file a new ethics complaint against her, claiming it was a conflict of interest when she voted on a motion related to her own expulsion. Senator Mark Johnson.
The reality is that this cloud is just hanging over the Senate right now. And so when you're constantly having party line votes, 34-33 over and over again, and you have somebody that's been accused of 2 felony level crimes, she's the one that's casting the deciding vote on a lot of these cases. That really brings into question what we're doing in the Minnesota Senate.
DFL Senator Aaron Murphy saying in a statement that Senator Mitchell is owed due process, which she says includes the adjudication of her case in court and the consideration of the ethics in the Senate. Minneapolis police announcing arrest in connection to last week's violent crime spree that rocked South Minneapolis. Those arrested yesterday morning following a surveillance operation in the 2400 block of Bloomington Avenue include a 34-year-old man, a 19-year-old man, and 2 17-year-old boys. It was last Tuesday morning when officers responded to 6 separate incidents that included 2 shootings, 2 burglaries, a carjacking at gunpoint, and a shots fired incident, all approximately within 2 hours of one another. Police have not said if they are looking for additional suspects. It is 5:06 on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
694 westbound Easterwood Road, crash off to the right side, keeping things slow as you come away from Central Avenue, West 36. It's all free and clear of any real issues as you make way toward Cleveland Avenue with the crash cleared out of the way. West 94 at Highway 280, got an accident working their activity out from both sides of the highway. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
The face of Minnesota veterans is changing. For the centennial year celebration, DAV of Minnesota invites you to join the ongoing effort to fulfill promises made to the men and women who served our great state and nation. Donate today at davmn.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
And the weather is brought to you by DAV of Minnesota. Here is WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It's getting better, but still chill
A cold weather advisory overnight tonight will fall back to 11 below, but it will still feel like 25 below tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, mostly cloudy with a high near 8. We shoot up to 15 on Thursday. By the weekend, highs in the 30s on Saturday. We may hit 40 on Sunday.
All right, thank you, Chris. Right now, sunny, 3 degrees with a wind chill of 13 below. I'm Mark Fry, News Talk 830 WCCO.
It's not just what we talk about, it's how we do it. Hear the difference every day. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRUSHA. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
You're watching the cool brainwashing 12-year-old and younger station that hides behind a slick image. We're so cool that we decide what's cool. And now, here's your host,
Jason DeRUSHA.
And we are live at spring training with the Minnesota Twins. We are sorry. We are sorry that you're getting hardcore winter back in Minnesota today. It'll be nice this weekend. Just in time for us to come home. If you get a chance to come down to spring training, my goodness, it is a bucket list sort of item, and it is worth the flight. You got tons of direct flights down here from the Twin Cities, and the opportunity to get up close and fun and have fun with the players. To me, spring training is special. I've been to spring training in the Scottsdale area where there's so many teams out in Arizona. Here you have maybe a smaller concentration of teams in the Fort Myers area, but who else do you want to see but the Twins? So you're coming down here to see your team and getting a chance to see some of the players who will become stars, but really to see these stars in a way you just don't get to do during the season. So come and check it out for sure. It is time for our extended version of the DeRUSH Hour News Headlines. We get started with the lead. And our lead story today is an update on the breaking news that we brought you all during Drive Time yesterday. That is the absolutely crazy sight of a Delta flight from Minneapolis hitting the runway in Toronto, Canada, and flipping over. Today, we have much better images of what happened there. And frankly, it is weird that everything that happens in our world is in crystal clear HD video. The video that appears to come, I'm not sure if it's from a car or it's from another pilot or maybe some sort of vehicle on the runway, but there is someone taking video as this Delta plane lands. It lands hard. You see it hit hard with the front landing gear, and that is the focus of the investigation. Today, we didn't really learn anything more as to what went on here. We know investigators are looking at the weather conditions, as well as the possibility of human error or an aircraft malfunction. Why did this plane burst into flames and then flip upside down as it tried to land in Toronto? Today, we know only 2 had critical injuries, as you heard from the update from CBS and from Mark Fry. But we're also hearing for the first time sound of people from Minnesota, many of them from Minnesota, as they are going through what had to be the scariest moment of their life. The plane hits hard. You smell the smoke, you smell the jet fuel, and all of a sudden, whoomp, the thing flips over and you are upside down. First, you'll hear from Ashley Zook and then John Nelson.
I was just in a plane crash. Oh my God.
Toronto. We just landed. Our plane crashed. It's upside down. Fire department's on site. Upside down. Everybody, most people appear to be okay. We're all getting off. Some smoke going on.
I mean, just incredible. You hear how John is out of breath there. Ashley, her brother lives in the Twin Cities. The Star Tribune talked to him, just so grateful that she's okay and everybody on that plane is okay. But still questions about what happened there. No answers expected immediately, but seeing that video is something else. It's time for the second story in the lead. And our second story is a moment to remember. Mark Fry talked about it in the news, but I wanted just to stop, because the news happens so fast and life happens so fast. And 1 year ago on this day, really one of the worst first responder, law enforcement tragedies, certainly in my 25 years here in the Twin Cities. And that is the murder of 3 first responders from Burnsville. Paul Elmstrad, a 27-year-old police officer, a husband, a father. Matthew Ruge, a 27-year-old as well. And then a firefighter and paramedic, Adam Finseth, 40 years old. All 3 of them shot and killed 1 year ago today. They arrived at 2 a.m, quiet street, dealing with what law enforcement officers always tell us is the most dangerous thing to respond to, a domestic dispute. And in the aftermath, we learned more about what was going on in that house. The killer here, 38-year-old Shannon Cortez Gooden, shot and killed those 3 and then killed himself. There was a 4th first responder, a police sergeant, Adam Meldlicott, who was injured but survived. But today we remember the fact that those 3 were killed while they were trying to save 7 children. And knowing what happened in that house with the woman and the 7 children, I'm not going to get into all of it, but it was awful. And those children have a chance at a life now, and a life away from a monster. And it's because of all of the first responders there that day, but no more so than the 3 who lost their life. Every day, there is that chance, and we don't take it for granted. We do not on this show. We do not, and I think most of us don't take it for granted either. So we send love to the families, and we send love up to those 3 men 1 year ago who were taken away. All right, our next story on the lead is a day that many people have been waiting for. Do you want to open a dispensary? I do not. I do not. But so many people have been interested in a process in Minnesota that's been, I don't know, is it over dramatic to call it a train wreck? Today is the first day of the second time where people can apply and try to get one of those licenses to enter the legal marijuana market in Minnesota. To give us some insight, we go to one of the experts that we've talked with before, Jason Tarasek, who is a partner at Vicente LLP. He is a specialist in cannabis law, and he joins us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Jason, thanks for being with us. Is today a day that you're nervous about, considering the track record of this, or what are your feelings on this day as someone who's advocated for a legal regulated market in Minnesota for a long time?
Oh, I suppose I'm a little nervous, mostly excited. We have a lot of clients anxious to jump into this market. And, just as someone who has been advocating for legalization for quite a while here in Minnesota, I'm excited to get products in the hands of consumers. You've been waiting a long time.
Jason, it's been 18 months since Minnesota legalized marijuana for adult use. This process has been rocky, to say the least. It is difficult to design a process, and we've seen so many states struggle with this, to legally design a process that's designed to give, what now everyone is calling the DEI group, but it's veterans. It's the social equity license. There is still a little benefit to people who qualify as being a social equity entrant, right?
There is, but the main, I think, advantage to being a social equity applicant would have been provided in our pre-approval lottery that was to occur last fall until it was sort of embroiled in litigation and ultimately canceled by the Minnesota Office of Cannabis Management.
Right.
There's still advantages to being a social equity applicant. They're just not as great as they would have been.
What is happening today? So you said you have some clients who are interested, who are applying. What is happening today?
Today, the window of opportunity to submit an application for a variety of license types. We've got more than 10 license types. You mentioned a dispensary, but of course, we need to license every aspect of that supply chain. So people who want to grow cannabis, people who want to take the flower, the raw cannabis, and convert that into products, and then people who want to sell them, people who want to deliver it, people want to drive it around between cannabis businesses. There are a variety of license types, some more popular than others, but all of those applications, the window of opportunity to apply for those started today and will run for about a month through the middle of March.
What's the reality as to how long it's going to take before we can go somewhere in St. Paul or Minneapolis or Woodbury and go to a legal business and be able to legally buy cannabis?
Well, it's a plant, obviously, so you need to grow it.
You got to
first.
grow it,
No
right?
No one is legally growing it yet, at least under a Minnesota licensed cannabis business license type. So we're looking potentially 6 to 12 months before a dispensary opens. The wild card, of course, you may have seen this in the news, is that our tribal nations may soon be opening dispensaries off tribal land. So those operations aren't necessarily licensed by our regulators, but that may be a possibility if one or more of those tribes finalizes a deal with the state of Minnesota to do that.
It's slow, man, isn't it? My goodness. And we still don't have a permanent director of the Office of Cannabis Management. There's an interim director, but like that has been a 2-year process as well.
True. We have a new interim director. It is the former general counsel for the Office of Cannabis Management, Eric Talbot. He's been on the job for more than a year, and he's doing a good job. He is, like I say, taken over for Charlene Briner, who resigned at the end of the year. So it's not as if we have an interim director with no experience whatsoever. But
true.
I don't know when we're going to get that permanent director.
Yeah. Which will come first? What do we think? Will it be the first place opening up, or will it be a permanent director? Who knows? But it seems like enough bureaucrats are in place that sort of know what they're doing, that this process hopefully will proceed with the first. This closes in March, and then they award the licenses.
Yeah, they said they're going to be issuing them on a rolling basis. I hope cultivation comes first.
Right.
So that we can get plants in the ground and start that supply chain rolling.
Awesome. Yeah, really good. Very interesting. Retailers just a part of it. Great insight. And we appreciate your insight today. Jason Tarasek from Vicente LLP, really one of the true experts in cannabis law here in Minnesota. Jason, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, that is the DeRUSH Hour lead. It's time for page 2. And that's coming up live from Fort Myers, Florida in just a minute. Drive Time continues here on CCM.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSHA, live from Twins Spring Training. Presented by the islands and beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company and sunny Fort Myers.
Yeah, I was thinking today about my dermatologist, Dr. Mohiba Tureen, because as I got ready this morning to step outside into the Florida sunshine, I promise I'm not rubbing it in. What I did rub in was sunscreen. It's Jason here for my friend, Dr. Mohiba Tureen. Oh, she is the best. She's the best. And I tell you what, at Tureen Dermatology, the last thing I want to do is come home from a trip to Florida with a suntan. Because while, a lot of people would like that, who I would hear it from? Dr. Tureen. Wearing sunscreen is the number one thing you can do to protect your skin. Number 2, get a full body skin checkup. The risk of skin cancer is high. The occurrence of skin cancer is high. And Minnesota is in the top 3 states for melanoma diagnosis in the United States. We love being outside. So many of us love tanning beds when we were younger. Maybe you just have a genetic proclivity to this. My dad has all sorts of skin cancers he's had removed. Get the full body skin checkup. Whatever sort of dermatological needs you need, Tureen Dermatology will get you in within 3 weeks. You can go online and make an appointment right now. TAREEN dermatology.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
Drive Time with DeRUSHA is live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
Hour 3 of the Drive Time with DeRUSHA, continuing with the DeRUSH Hour News Headlines. Page 2, we start with what happened to moving beyond policing, that more holistic effort to fight crime.
No, I don't make threats, I make promises. Now you're going to act like a little girl when y'all doing all the other stuff. That's what I said. Don't make me come back. That's all. What? Come put me out. You come put me out. Put me out. Homophobic. You all are heterophobic. What are you talking about?
So you get the idea. That is a North Minneapolis pastor who also has a contract as a violence interrupter, just really losing it at a city council meeting last week. This is indicative of all the heat around what was a unifying issue. The Minnesota Star Tribune writing about this. A couple of years ago, this was not controversial at all. We're going to have police, full policing, but we're going to introduce a new model. We're going to try to deter violence. We're going to have violence interrupters that would diffuse conflict, and we should pay them too. It shouldn't just be volunteer. Well, the whole thing is falling apart. City council members say they've lost faith in Minneapolis's own neighborhood safety department. Several council members were saying we got to send this over to Hennepin County. They have backed off of that. The former director of neighborhood safety resigned in January, and she has been accused of it. How about this? This is unbelievable. So this former director is accused of directing a contract to possibly ex-boyfriend. Today it came out that she was paying like $800+ an hour to her ex-boyfriend for consulting. Huh? Like, what is going on with this? He was hired to incorporate the human dignity model, which the Star Tribune reached out to national providers of evidence-based violence intervention, who all said, is that like the human fund? No one knew what that was. Now, there has been good, right? Like some of the public-facing violence interrupters who were sent downtown or sent to Dinkytown were praised by neighbors because they tamped down some of the mayhem. Neighborhood safety has a $23 million budget. So 85% of that money is spent on violence prevention contractors. So making sure that this isn't all a scam and a ripoff is critical. There were firefighters ready to respond to the LA wildfires, but no trucks for them to take out. This is a bit of a red alert for an issue with the entire industry of fire truck manufacturing, says the New York Times. I bring this story up because Minnesota actually has a very significant fire truck manufacturer that's based in Wyoming, Minnesota. So here's the issue. In LA, dozens of the rigs that would have carried extra crews to go fight the fires were out of service. Now, some of that is that they don't have enough mechanics in LA to service all of these vehicles. But the deeper problem is the fire truck industry. Wall Street executives led an aggressive consolidation of the industry in a plan to boost profits. Because at about 10 years ago, the profit margin for fire truck companies was about 4 to 5%. Now, the Wall Street executives said, well, we could probably get that to 10%. So how did they do it? Well, they're limiting supply. They're cutting their own manufacturing lines as part of a streamlining strategy. And so now they got a backlog of fire engine orders in the billions of dollars. So it's not just LA, Atlanta, Seattle, Watertown, New York, Camden, New Jersey, all over the country. Fire departments have expressed frustration with delayed deliveries and rising costs that leave them with a bunch of old fire trucks that are more likely to break down. The industry's three largest companies. Tell me, in what industry have you heard this story before? All of them? The three largest companies, Rev Group, Oshkosh, and Rosenbauer. That's the one based in Wyoming. Rev, Oshkosh, and Rosenbauer control about 70 to 80% of the market. City of St. Paul today is going to decide what to do with cell phones in schools. So districts across the state were told by the state legislature that they have until March 15th to come up with a school board approved cell phone policy. So St. Paul is not alone. Every school district that doesn't have a unified policy across the school district is grappling with that in their meetings probably over the next couple weeks. St. Paul is suggesting that the use of personal electronic devices will not be permitted during school hours. Neither have to be at home, and lockers are turned off and put away. So no cell phones, no tablets, laptops, smartwatches, gaming systems, and earbuds. And then there might be some exceptions, and schools can have their own plan for the high school level. So that just makes sense, right? I think that just makes sense. Schools could decide to allow cell phone use before and after school. They could allow for it between class periods. They could allow for it during lunch, but that individual policy has to be locked down. And those these all make a lot of sense. No St. Paul elementary schools allow cell phone use during the school day. Most middle schools don't allow it either. But most high schools in St. Paul do allow some use of cell phones. And so we'll see how they decide to shake it out. It's 5:30. That is the DeRUSH Hour News Headlines. In just a minute, the internet has been blowing up with Wild general manager Billy Guerin under attack. He is the general manager of the USA soccer team. He went on Fox News today, and he is being accused of saying that the political talk around Canada becoming the 51st state has been a huge motivator for his players. Is that what Bill Guerin actually said? Let me give you a spoiler alert. No. I will play for you what he said, and we'll get into it. I want to know if you think what he said is right. Is it offensive? There's a Trump angle to this, too, all as we come back here on Drive Time.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA, live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers. Mornings are busy. You've got to get up, get ready, eat a quick bite, get the kids ready, grab some coffee, and get on your way. Make your AM around the house a little less hectic with hands-free listening to get up to date on the day's biggest stories. Put us on your smart speaker. Just ask Siri, Google, or Alexa to play News Talk 830 WCCO on your favorite device, which leaves your hands free for more important tasks. Mornings made easier with News Talk 830 WCCO.
We interrupt this broadcast for an automotive alert. Right now, purchase the stylish 2025 Buick Encore GX all-wheel drive for just $23,990 with no payments for 90 days if you're currently not a GM vehicle owner. That's right, a 2025 all-wheel drive Buick Encore GX for just $23,990 if you currently own a 2011 or newer non-GM vehicle. Why buy used when you can buy new for less at McCarthy Auto World and McCarthyAutoWorld.com. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. See dealer for details.
So what are your thoughts on the new year? Maybe healthier living, more sleep, less pain? Jordana here. My friends at MInneapolis are hoping for the same things, and they are delivering with their awesome CBD products. They are helping to destigmatize CBD all over Minnesota with MInneapolis products. I use so many of them. The Sleep Night Gummies, I absolutely love. The Triple Diamond Pain Cream for pain anywhere, all over your body, really, truly works. Check them out. MINNEALEAF.com. Minnesota's home of its best legal products. These products are third-party tested and 100% natural. This is your year to live pain-free, to have better sleep, to live a healthier life. MINNEALEAF.com. Tell them Jordana sent you.
MINNEALEAF means quality. Taste happy at MINNEALEAF.com.
Imagine placing an investment or trade without fear. Knowing that big institutions have taken the same trade as you, pushing the price higher, which only they can do. You get to ride the wave of institutional demand. If not, your plan will protect you from the downside. This is how our students are taught to invest in trade. Right now, you can sign up for a free investing class where we'll outline our strategy for following the smart money. Text investing to 210-210. We'll also review strategies for growing a retirement portfolio, how professionals profit when stocks are falling, and how to protect your investments against inflation. With a 25-year history, local classrooms, and one-on-one support, you're not alone. And now it's your turn. Sign up for a free investing class today. Text investing to 210-210 or go to learnwithota.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Got some slowdowns out there as you travel across town westbound. Lindale heading out toward Highway 100, 494 westbound. Some slowing there. Lindale over to France Avenue, 394 eastbound. You're going to find the slowdowns in place as you make way between Dunwoody and 94 and 10 westbound. Some congestion right around Hanson Boulevard. Joey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason DeRUSHA here. The Canopy Group represents 16 different insurance companies, not just one. They give you options. Each year, they'll review your program so you don't have to, making sure you get the best coverage at the best price. Do like I did. Go to thecanopygroup.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather brought to you by the Canopy Group. We know how cold it was this morning. We are in a cold weather advisory once again. Here is WCCO Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
We're not adding any snow, but in a few days, we'll be melting snow. Not tonight. It's a cold weather advisory. We'll fall back to 11 below, but still feeling like 25 below early tomorrow morning. Mostly cloudy tomorrow afternoon with a high of 8, up to 15 Thursday. Saturday, a high in the 30s. By Sunday, we could hit 40. That could carry over into next week as well.
Right now in Maple Grove, Minnesota, it is 1 singular degree. It feels like 7 below on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRUSHA, live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel, and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
And we would love it if President Trump was in attendance. We have a room full of proud American players and coaches and staff. And listen, we're just trying to represent our country the best way we can.
Oh, you know that's going to set people off. I got zero problem with what Minnesota Wild general manager Bill Guerin, the general manager for the U.S. men's team at the Four Nations face-off tournament, saying that you would love to have the president of the United States at the finals of this Four Nations face-off. To me, is a no-brainer. Great, of course. Why wouldn't you? Sounds fine to me. I mean, obviously, I'm a reasonable human being, so you would not expect that to be the reaction to Bill Guerin's appearance on Fox News this morning. The Daily Beast, a lefty kind of news site, if you want to call it news, if
news-ish,
based on the way they're characterizing this. Here is their post on X. The U.S. hockey team is hoping the president will make an appearance at their match against Canada, claiming his 51st state rhetoric has been an inspiration. And you think, oh my, did Bill Guerin say that the team was inspired by Donald Trump saying he wants to make Canada the 51st state? Now that would be stupid, right? Do we think that the reason the American hockey team wants to beat Canada and got involved in a scuffle on Saturday is because they were inspired by President Donald Trump talking about taking over Canada?
Seems to be some kind of logic missing there.
Seems questionable to me, but it certainly does not stop the response on Twitter. One respondent, as if I needed more reasons to detest Bill Guerin. Another, we can add Guerin's name to the ever-increasing list of, well, I guess they suck now, people. You can say keep politics out of sports till you're blue in the face, but it's different when the person is encouraging the taking over of another country. I mean, the Daily Beast could not be stupider.
This was really, really bad writing.
Or really great pandering to their crowd. Because here is the question and the answer that Bill Guerin brought up being inspired by. Listen to this.
The boos were so loud you couldn't hear the anthem. So was there bad blood prior? Was it the booing of the anthem, or do you think it has something to do with the politics of the day between our two countries?
I think a little bit of everything. I mean, Canada-U.S. is a huge rivalry in hockey. I think there was a little bit of a political flair to it. It's just the time that we're in. And then, I think our guys use that as inspiration. If you let it get the better of you, then you're in trouble. But I really do think the players use it as inspiration.
So the question is, what is he saying they were using as inspiration? To me, it's pretty clear he's saying the booing was inspiration, that the players were responding to that. Now, some of you are Trump haters, and the idea of having Trump anywhere in the world is offensive to you. To me, he's the president of the United States. I think it's very normal and natural and believable that you would say, yes, I want the president of the United States to be there. Now, I also don't think Bill Guerin is like a lefty, right?
Oh, certainly not.
Like Bill went on Fox News instead of FS1 or ESPN because, I mean, come on, you go on Fox News. It's not like you're just saying like, wow, I thought this was a logical place to talk about this.
No, I'm sure they reached out to him, and
he was like, "Sure, I'll go."
Got a lot of places that reached out to him. He makes.
He said yes. So let's not be naive about it, but also like if you are so deranged about Donald Trump that you think it's ludicrous that he would go to the finals of this, get over it. Now, if I were Canada, would I want Donald? I mean, where is the final?
In Boston.
It's still America, last I checked.
Last I looked, yep.
So if I were Trump, 1,000% I would go. U.S. versus Canada with all the politics going on around that right now.
For sure.
Why wouldn't you go? I don't know. Like, do I like the Trump rhetoric about making Canada the 51st state?
No, it's silly and absurd.
The idea is awful. It's offensive. I don't like villainizing a country that has been our friend. Also, like, they've been booing our anthem for a bit now, and like, I don't necessarily like feel any sympathy where like I want Canada to win. I want USA to win.
Sure.
I like the sort of, I've enjoyed the 4 nations, like the chance to cheer for your country. There's been some conversation about whether the NBA or Major League Baseball should explore some sort of similar format for their All-Star games, because you know what? This is fun. And everybody else's All-Star game is pretty lame.
Yeah, I mean, people should be reminded that this tournament is taking place in lieu of the NHL,
All-Star game, which also is lame
because they're playing up the fact that the NHL players are coming back to the Olympics, and it's going to,
so it's pretty great.
And because international hockey in these types of tournaments gets ratings and gets attention, and because it's great hockey,
and also like we love our country, all around the world. This is don't give me this like, oh, it's U.S. Like, no, every country loves their own country. And so playing into that, I think, is great, is fine. And it's sports, it's fun, it's entertaining.
And I understand why some Canadian fans would take to booing the American anthem when it was played, when they were playing up in Montreal.
If I were Canadian, I'd boo too.
No question. And I understand why the U.S. players took it personal and got upset. The fighting at the beginning of the USA-Canada game was ridiculous and stupid and whatever. But that's part of what generated this interview.
Yes.
But whatever, the fact that Bill's getting dragged over the coals on the internet right now is just absolutely absurd. It isn't what he said. When you listen to the audio,
you hear the question.
Absolutely.
It's obvious. And it's just like, I mean, this is part of why there's such animosity towards the media, that in a desire to get clicks on really a half-written article, when you click through on the Daily Beast, it's 2 paragraphs. And it's like, he credited Trump's recent jabs at Canada and calls to turn it into the 51st state with helping improve his team's game.
Which is patently false.
It's just false.
It's just not true at all.
He said the 2 countries have always had political flair and that our guys use that as an inspiration. Just also not true. You're like, I mean, and I get it. You're the Daily Beast. Your game is to like gin up like anger from people who hate Trump. And look, I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but like, I also am not going to spend my life trying to be mad about every single thing he does. I'm not. Like, if that's what you want, like, I guess the Daily Beast is for you, but it's just false.
But you're being lied to. I mean, that's just
you are being lied to.
You just have to understand that's
exactly
what's going
right.
on.
That's exactly right. I think it's fine to want the president. If I were the president, wouldn't that be part of the fun of the job?
Sure.
Like, I would go to all of them. Don't you want to go? Do you want the president at the final? 651-461-9226. We'll talk about that. And we'll wrap up the show from, I got to tell you, the sun is set. It's very dark here.
Yeah.
If you look at our live stream on YouTube or Facebook, you will see a very dark Hammond Stadium. And you will not feel sorry for us because it is 71 degrees here on Drive Time with DeRUSHA.
Drive Time with DeRUSHA is live from Twins Spring Training, presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company in sunny Fort Myers.
There is something awesome about travel. And if you have had Greece on your bucket list, I want you to check it off. I want you to come with me to beautiful Athens, Santorini, and Mykonos. It's Jason DeRusha. October 12th, we head to Athens with Colette and a bunch of CCO radio listeners. Athens is one of my favorite cities in the world. If you've never been, you are going to love it. Beautiful restaurants, incredible history. At the rooftop of the hotel we're staying at, you will be able to have a drink on the rooftop and have a view of the Parthenon. I mean, unbelievable. 3 nights in Athens, then we go to Santorini, and then we go to Mykonos. Island life, traditional music, Greek cuisine, and so much more. The beauty of Colette is that they handle everything. The flights, they take your luggage to the hotel. Most of your meals are covered. And they bring local guides to give you special experiences that only a local would know about. Come on, let's go to Greece. Do it. What are you waiting for? Make today the day. WCCOradio.com/Greece has all the information and a phone number if you want to call and get more info. But go there today because the seats are filling up. WCCOradio.com/Greece.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Nobody wants to wait around forever for their home to sell. It's tough. A lot of people feel like if they accept an offer too quickly, though, that they're probably leaving money on the table. Hey, it's Vanita. Just call my friend, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Brenda just worked with John to sell her townhome. Someone who she really trusted made the referral, and Brenda learned she can trust that person even more because of how great John was. He fired up his marketing system. It reaches thousands of potential home buyers every single day. It took him less than 72 hours to get a handful of offers and found a buyer. Now she's one of his more than 5,000 satisfied customers. Contact John for full details, 952-222-9000, online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan Silver Dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars, minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. Don't miss out on this special deal. Regularly priced at $49.95, but for a limited time, only $39.95. Save $10 per silver bar. Limit of 25 bars per customer. The more you buy, the more you save. Up to $250 in savings and free shipping on every order. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan Silver Dollar. That's a $59.95 value free. Call 1-800-386-7195 now to secure your 1-ounce Morgan Silver Bars for only $39.95. That's 1-800-386-7195.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Drive's not too bad. Got some slowdowns. No big surprise. Crosstown westbound still a bit tight. Lindale heading out toward France Avenue. 394 flowing nicely right now as you make the run between downtown Minneapolis and out to Minnetonka Boulevard. Possible stall causing you some slowdowns. East 94 in the area of Hemlock Lane. Get ready for that as you make way through Maple Grove. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
In its centennial year, the DAV of Minnesota remains dedicated to helping thousands of veterans access the benefits they've earned. And you can make a difference. Volunteer to transport veterans, advocate for improved programs, or donate today at davmn.org.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, the weather's brought to you by DAV of Minnesota. Chris Schaefer telling us it is going to be cold. one more time tomorrow. Well, maybe not. Maybe more than one more time. But it's going to be definitely cold. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, wind chills around 20 to 25 below zero. Tomorrow's high temperature is in the single digits again. But we start a slow march towards warm. Thursday, high of 15. Friday, we're in the 20s. 30s by Saturday. 40 by Sunday. Just in time for Dan and me to get home. I know you guys hate us. We're not sorry. We're not. Right now it's 2 in Osseo on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRUSHA, live from Twins Spring Training. Presented by the Islands and Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel and the Luminary Hotel and Company and sunny Fort Myers.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least
Oh, you know that Billy Garrett has that as his ringtone, right? He wants Donald Trump to be in Boston to watch the USA. Yeah, I don't know if he wants it. He says our team would love it. It is being mischaracterized all over the internet, but just that comment is perhaps controversial enough. Let's go to Pete in Oakdale, who is on the CCO Talk and Text line. Pete, thanks for listening. Go ahead. What do you think about all of this?
Hey, Jason, how you doing?
Great.
Good. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm driving down the highway here. But, yeah, to answer your question, I think absolutely you should go to the game. And I want to take it one step further. I think they should disguise him, put a jersey on him, put a helmet on him, get him out on the ice, and maybe before 9 seconds, drop the gloves.
I love it. I love that.
Just to keep the helmet on.
You got to keep the helmet on for sure. Pete, I mean, he's survived the gunshot. Like, why not? Why not? Pete at Oakdale. Very good. Thank you.
Did you get
Pete.
Trudeau to come down and then the two of them?
Well, that's what you need.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you need. Now, a texter points out, and this is a valid question, and I always think about this whenever the president travels because there is a considerable cost to it in terms of security, in terms of local police and all of that. What would the cost be to have him there? The texter says when Trump went the Super Bowl, it cost $22 million. Now, I don't know if that number is right or not. It doesn't surprise me. A lot of the costs that get assigned to these sorts of things are sort of fixed costs of people who are already on the job.
Yeah.
But let's not kid ourselves. It is expensive. Is it worth it? I don't know. I mean, that is a fair question. You would be going essentially just to give Canada the middle finger.
Would it be a Doge approved trip?
Would Doge? Yeah. I mean, yes, obviously, yes. Obviously, yes. Another texture pointing out that the irony here is that the media, like the Daily Beast, CBS, MSNBC, and Jimmy Kimmel, are glad to have Trump back because Biden was so boring and gave them no material. Now, I don't know. I mean, Biden, Sleepy Joe is pretty good stuff, but it's not as good as this.
It's not the same. He definitely
This is
did
a
give
fire
them material.
hose.
There's no question about that. But yeah, exactly. That's just it. The rate of the material that comes out of the Trump administration is astonishing.
It is sad, and I get it. I get that's where we are. But it is sad that, like, saying that your team would want the president to be there is like a controversial thing.
Well, I mean, how many years going back have we talked about like teams going to visit the White House and some player on a championship team says, I don't want to go because and it becomes this big political mess, right? So some of this has been going
When
on
was
for a
the
long
first time that was going on, though? I feel like even that is relatively new. That is sort of Trump dates to Trump.
Oh, I think it dates back.
Was
further
it
than
happening
Trump.
during
Yeah,
Clinton
I think,
administration?
I was just gonna
maybe
say, I
was
think it goes back to Clinton and like some of the golfers that weren't big Clinton fans not showing up at the White House. But it's,
which I don't like that either. I think you should just show up.
I agree.
If you don't want to, I think you should just not show up, and you don't need to announce your lack of interest. But like, also, if you got invited to the White House today, Dan Cook, you're no Trumper. But if you got invited to the White House, would you go?
1,000% I'd go. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on. All right. We're almost done here, but I do want to share a little bit of breaking news that comes in the file of I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. The Feeding Our Future trial, the fraud trial is going on right now. There are allegations of possible witness tampering that are arising. that a cooperating witness was approached in the hallway. Lou Ragoose reporting that. We also saw this from Dita Winter at the Star Tribune. Attempts to tamper with a witness. You'll remember there was an attempted juror bribe. Remember that? Like Keystone Cops
Like
effort.
out of the movie, right? The bag of money shows
Bag
up
of
on the
money.
doorstep.
Disgusting. It's disgusting.
It is.
And the fact that this would come up again,
it says a lot to me.
Yeah, I mean,
if you had questions about where this trial was and should be going,
is this person guilty? Like
this certainly doesn't help.
Innocent people don't tamper with the witnesses.
Not usually.
I'm just saying.
Not usually.
Just disgusting and outrageous. Henry Lake is coming up next. We'll be here tomorrow. Who do we have on the show tomorrow? Who are we going to share with you tomorrow?
We may have a shot at talking to Derek Falvey.
Oh, that's right.
We're going to do that, and then
right.
Ryan Jeffers might join us. We'll
Oh,
talk
yeah.
to him a little bit too.
Very
So we'll
good.
talk about that.
The team is at like an owner's party tonight.
Yes.
You might be thinking, who is the owner of the Minnesota Twins? It's still the Polat.
Maybe they'll announce something tonight.
Maybe.
You don't know.
All right, live from spring training. We'll be streaming on YouTube and Facebook as well. Here comes Henry. Have a great night.
In the eye of the storm. Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now